Hello and welcome everybody. I'm the Chris who plays games, playing retro games every Monday at 9:15, whatever I feel like every Friday at 9:15. Tonight we're going to be diving into the Golf Club 2, everyone's favorite golf simulator, with internet celebrity Brad Prichard, who I believe is on the line with us here today. Brad, are you there?
Hey Chris, how's it going?
Not bad, not bad. So with us so far tonight, we have Supermodel Gaming, James Holder, and Jeff poked his head in earlier, although he hasn't made it back yet. So it's good to have all of you here tonight, as well as anyone else out there in listener radio land. Radio land? We're on Radio Land now. We're not going to be in listener land anymore. We're in Radio Land. So welcome to the stream, everybody. I should actually check that my stream is actually going out to like some kind of internet service. Sometimes I push the button and that doesn't actually happen because I have configured it to do something stupid, but it does appear that I am live. Hooray, I am here, 2 people are watching. Excellent. So what Brad has discovered is that his golfer that he had so carefully crafted as being the utmost in beauty was not in fact saved with his golf club. So he has to recreate his golfer experience. Now I'm going to show you my golfer here, who I think there's a belief from some that this golfer is not sufficient, but I think he's okay. So we've got the bright red shorts, the bright lime green shirt. I did look around for a hat that would have a propeller or something on it. I didn't get any propeller hat look, but I do have the bright purple shoes and this baseball cap with the stripes on it, as well as the like yellow and red 80s sunglasses going on. So overall, I feel like I have got my look in a particular way that I'm okay with, so we're gonna be able to go through that, but. Of course, you can't have a golfer just go out there looking normal and play with internet celebrity Brad Prichard. So we're going to have to allow him to rebuild his golfer from scratch and really get that going.
I'm freaking out here. I'm having a real hard time. The pressure is getting to me.
It's all right. It's all right. You don't have to worry too much. I did just buy myself a digital watch to have my golfer wear as well.
Nice.
I change the custom color. Okay, and so we can make this like a bright red watch maybe. We got the bright red. Now we're gonna go with let's see, bright yellow wristband. And then we will take the secondary color. What is this control? This controls like the ring around the watch. So this is gonna be I think like a magenta color here. We get some bright magenta on this wristwatch. It's not too magenta-y. That's too close to red. There we go. There we go. We get some right there. Fuchsia, perhaps. And the tertiary color, I'm hoping, is going to control the numbers, and it does. So that's going to be bright green as well, this lime green color. So now I've got a much more beautiful watch going on here. Important for all of those times when you can see my watch, which I'm pretty sure is none. But that's okay. While we're here, I guess you can't see my belt, so that doesn't matter. I guess I have to change my shirt to...
Belt is, I think mentally, if you're a golfer, belt is going to mean a lot.
I could switch to this this nice tuck shirt instead of the surfer look. I guess I could also buy myself some of these other shirts and see how this looks. Oh, there we go. We've got some nice black, yellow, and fuchsia, lime green, and fuchsia striped T-shirt going on as well. So that's really gonna help me out. No, Jeff, this has absolutely no effect on my swing.
I'm gonna be honest here.
Yeah.
I'm having a really hard time making this as lurid as it was the first time. I think I nailed it the first time, and now I am legit struggling.
You're just gonna have to suffer, Brad. Like, it's just gonna be the way it is.
It's mismatched, but it's not nearly as ugly as I want it to be.
Well, we may have to survive without the full ugliness that you are used to here in the golf club, and just play through, as they say. I think people say that in golf sometimes, anyway. So
I mean, I've already foregone making my guy's face super ugly, so I'm making some sacrifices here.
I think yep, that's true. It's true. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually pick a course. So that I can...
Does my buy button not work?
I don't know. So while Brad is working on making a golfer that he feels sufficiently extends his personality, I'm gonna go ahead and play just a couple of holes on this course, and see if I can remember how to play the golf club. So the golf club has been a fun game for Brad and I to play a bunch in his streams and in some of mine. We did after a while figure out how so we could actually see each other's swings, which took us a long time. But we've been playing since the Golf Club 1. We're now in the Golf Club 2. Next year, of course, we'll have Golf Club 2019 coming out because apparently golf has changed a lot.
Except it's already out.
Oh, Golf Club 2019 is already out? So
it's out for months. They got such an aggressive upgrade cycle. I don't want to be on that yearly upgrade cycle. So.
Well, I object strongly to the use of the 2019 label for something released in mid-2018. Like, I realize that this is how car sales model years go, but...
This is also how sports video games have been basically forever.
Well, I disagree with that, too. Well, so no, that makes sense because they have seasons that extend, right? Like, the NFL 2019... is going to cover the 2018 through 2019 season. Like, that doesn't apply to golf. The golf club doesn't have seasons, I don't think.
Well, they have the PGA Tour license now, though.
Oh, I see. So that's probably why they've actually done it now, because they're associated with a tour that's annual or whatever. Well, I disagree with it anyway.
They're probably losing shitloads of money, honestly.
I mean, I assume that must have been a case where... I don't know. Feels like they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't lose money. They should figure out how to make money from that.
Well, I think that their acquisition of the PGA licenses, their hopes to make money. But I think it's pretty tough to sell iterative golf games, many times given the older user base.
Yeah, and also just like, what changes in golf do you, like? Unlike, like, in sports, at least, there's, like, team changes and, like, player changes and other things like that, and you really want to be associated with a player. I just can't imagine that enough people are like, I want to be, like, someone other than Tiger Woods, and I really care about who it is from year to year. Like, there's not a set of stats that go with your golfer that you change. So, if that's not the case, then what are you getting out of having these licensed golfers that change every year like you might in a sports thing?
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, even with the PGA Tour license, they don't have a PGA Players Union license. So it's just golf courses. It's not actually golf players.
Oh, well, so that's even... I mean, and the golf courses don't change that much from year to year, presumably, right?
Well, having the PGA Tour license does make a big difference in terms of your golf courses.
Okay.
But given, that... they've obviously got the custom golf course editor. Not as big of a difference as it could be.
Yeah, I mean, creating a good golf course in the golf club is certainly a time-consuming process, and I believe that there are many more bad user-created courses in the golf club than there are good user-created courses in the golf club. But I still am... You know what this makes me think of? Like, now that I'm thinking about the golf club and UGC after the discussions of this week, is like, how can I, like, take my Tumblr porn and like, convert it into a golf club course and upload it to the golf club to, like, golf course directory? Like, do you think that the editor has enough tools that you could do that?
Probably not.
Anyway, yeah, so Jeff, it is definitely Brad's belief that in order to have a successful golfer, their outfit must be sufficiently outrageous to potentially cause the other players to throw up. That is actually how you win at golf, is just to convince them of that.
I gotta tell you, I lied a little bit, and I did go into the face editor.
You realize that you cannot see the person's face.
Weathered a little bit,
But you can't. You can't see your face while you're golfing, right? You're always looking down at the ball or away from the camera.
Yeah, you're gonna have to look at him a little bit. It's gonna be the competitive edge that I need. All right, but I'm gonna call that a day and actually play this game.
All right, I am glad to hear that. So we will. I will pick a new course because I've already played through 4 holes on this one, and I don't want you to feel like I'm cheating by picking a course I know super well already.
All right.
And we'll pick a new one out. So just give me one moment here.
And when you see my golfer, you're gonna get the feeling that I rushed it, and I did. And please don't castigate me too thoroughly for it.
I mean, I feel like that's not gonna be a thing I notice because I feel like you spend way more time looking at the golfer than I do. I do like that there's a hole called Trump's Kofefe course. I'm not really interested in playing it, but
I'd have some concerns about its quality.
yeah, like overall, I look at these names and I'm like, okay, Hickory Creek Golf Course, Nightmare Mini Golf, no. Dragon's Pass Golf Course, okay, that sounds good. You know, Ginger Bay Golf Club, these sound good, but Crazy Mini Golf Paradise Club. I think that the misspelled club there, I feel like really sells me on the quality that I can expect. The all caps all eagleable #fun, not really giving me what I want. Golf for Insects does have that certain je ne sais quoi, but it is
why
not...
do you hate fun?
I don't hate fun. I hate poorly designed golf courses. All right, so now I need to add a player, a guest, I believe. Nope, not a guest. A rival, I guess. I have forgotten how to. There are no players currently play. I know that. I want to add a friend. Ghost?
And I've set my my graphical settings to ultra just to see if I can make my computer crash.
I don't remember how to invite you to things.
Well, that's a shame because you need to.
I add a rival, right? But you're not live.
Seems like the thing to do. I'm so live.
And well, you're not playing this course. Add guest. Here we go.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
All friends. You are my friend, despite what this is telling me. You are my friend.
No, stop it. Stop it. No wallow memery. We're adults.
I am not an adult. I disagree. Yeah, so you are not live in the golf club.
Well, it's showing me proper icons and shit.
So can you go to a course and try and, or can you click on, like, press the profile button and go to the little people icons?
Yeah.
And does all friends have a number next to it that isn't 0?
Well, the number is 0. I feel that I lost my friends in the course of reinstalling this game.
I mean, but it's not about they're Steam friends.
Right?
Should be. Like, yeah, because I can guarantee you I have never played Golf Club with Bunty King. Like, that is a promise that I can make you, and he is listed as one of my friends here. So,
well, well, I'm going to add you as a friend. You said you're offline also, which I disagree with.
I mean, I could be offline. Maybe the internet is broken. I mean,
if the internet's broken, it's probably broken for me, right? That seems like...
I don't know. I don't know anything.
Seems like the thing. How do I fix this?
Okay, what's going to happen is that I am going to play a course, and then you're going to go into your notifications and see if you find it.
All right, I don't think that's going to work, but...
I mean, that's how we usually find each other, isn't it?
I think let's try it. It's a viable plan. If it doesn't work, I'll restart the game and hope that works.
Okay, so I am on red and 1, and hopefully you're going to get a notification real shortly here. Like now-ish.
Well, I mean, it's never that quick, is it?
It sometimes is. I don't know.
I'm definitely not getting a notification.
Okay.
All right, I'm backing out of this thing and restarting it.
View golfer info. Yeah, you got all your stats. Huh.
Yeah.
We probably should have tested this before now.
Well, we didn't really have much time.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I was gonna do my like play GeoGuessr for 2 hours thing tonight, but I'm still not sure if that's a good idea. And after like arguing with DSA people, I wasn't sure I'd be up to it. So
All right. I'm back in the golf club. Let's see if I have any friends now. Nope, I still don't have any friends.
You don't have any friends? Like, none online or none at all? Like, when you click on view friends, nothing comes up?
If I click on all friends, everybody's there.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
But it says you're offline, which I strongly disagree with.
Yeah, I also disagree with that.
I disagree with me being offline also, though, because I can go to online societies and they show up. I don't know how else to test this theory.
So let me, I'll back out of this course, and then I will start a different course and see if we get a notification this time. Actually, can I... Friends courses I played, friends played... Yeah, okay, never mind. Alright, play, all courses. We'll just pick, like, a most played course, which will bring us to Scrublands Golf Course, new round. And I press begin round, and then we wait 15 seconds and see if you get an invitation. Notification-y thing.
I feel like I'm not going to. As long as it tells me you're not online, I don't like my chances.
I mean, I feel like we have that problem often, but maybe not.
This seems a lot more severe than usual.
Yeah, you're right. True, true. Yes, I've been talking to Lalo too much. What do you want from me? Friends. Prichard, you're not online in Steam.
Maybe I need to completely restart Steam.
I sent you a message in Steam chat.
Let me see if I got it. Well, okay. Let me. My friends list says friends network unreachable. Retry connection.
Retrying connection seems like a good plan.
All right, now it should think I'm online. All right, that was probably the issue.
Okay, so now the Steam seems to know you're a person now. So now if I go to all friends and I go to oh, you're in a different spot now. Hey, you're online now. Okay, cool. Let me pick a different.
I still don't see you, so you better do the inviting.
Yeah. I've got to pick a different course because I picked a shitty course because I was just trying to do a thing.
So I actually think there have been some changes to Steam since the last time we played. It didn't used to do that thing where your friends list would have that. I noticed a lot of some ways going on and off VPN. So they did their overhaul to their chat functionality.
Okay.
Things have been a little weird.
Nope. I don't want. That's dumb. Okay. Actually, let me check how far the red pins are. 7,000 yards. That seems like a reasonable number, right?
Pretty long for red pins.
Yeah, it's the gaps between the pins on this course are very small. So maybe you just got a notification.
I don't feel like I did.
I did. See?
We have solved all of our problems.
Yeah, it turns out that in order to play golf club together, you have to connect to the Steam friend network.
Well, it used to be that you were online or you were offline. So the game would have warned me, say, "Oh, you're offline. Do you want to start in offline mode?" Which, of course, it did not do because I wasn't actually offline. Yeah. But the chat doesn't seem to automatically reconnect when you're fucking around with stuff.
Got it. Hey, right, I hear the person who talks to internet celebrity Brad Prichard, John Masterson, John something else.
John McCarthy?
There you go.
Oh shit! I got the wrong clubs.
Oh, do you wanna? You can back out. We can start over.
I don't think I can change that once I'm in the game.
I think that's true. I quit the course. Go change your clubs. I think you want the second set of clubs. So.
Yeah, I can't be hitting 240-yard drives. That's not, wildly inappropriate.
That's not gonna be a thing.
Steam Save doesn't save this stuff.
It does seem like the kind of thing that it would be able to do. Yeah, so in Golf Club, there's actually 3 different sets of clubs: standard, player, and tour. Which one of these you play kind of adjusts how difficult it is to use the clubs. Basically, how straight you have to use the controller to hit a shot, as well as changing how far they go. So the harder they are to hit, the farther your shots will go, but the more chance you have of flubbing it up. For a long time, I actually shot with the tour clubs, but Brad finally convinced me that it was doing more harm harm than good to me. I had great drives, but I have really bad short game. So he convinced me to switch back to the player clubs, and my handicap has been going down since then. So he
All
was
right.
correct.
So I can't resume the round. I'll still have the old shitty clubs.
Yep, no, that's right. Okay, so I'm starting a new round, and hopefully you will get a notification shortly again. So like in the next 15 seconds. Probably
All
now.
right. I feel like it's been so long since we played that I should have just stuck with the terrible standard clubs.
You'll be okay.
I did change to my golf-only controller. At least I remembered that part.
Okay, so you are in, is that correct?
I have just joined.
Okay. I'm going to turn on turn order.
Yes, that's critical.
And I'm...
All right. Well, I got the proper clubs. I am scared of this first drive.
Yeah, so this first drive seems a bit problematic. We're going to have to try and hit through this tree. We got an 8-mile-per-hour wind to the left.
Looking good so far.
The wind did not do as much as I had hoped.
I feel like my shot ended up being just about perfect. So I am at 300 yards, right in the middle of the fairway.
Now, I think you still got a big problem with your shoes.
I mean,
they're just not.
This is Brad, of course, showing off his fancy outfit. So we'll see if I get to see a little bit more of that. Oh yeah, you did not go in the way that you thought you were gonna go. Hello, Julie. All right, so this is Brad giving us
cabbage. I don't know how I'm gonna handle this.
Giving us the gold or the light green jacket with pink SpongeBob's on it. You've got the teal and pink shorts, as well as the blue baseball cap, I feel like.
This is multicolored.
Okay.
I'm having a bit of an issue with a lot of things here. Because it keeps trying to show me goddamn tutorials like I've never played this game before.
I am very sorry for your loss. I don't know what I can do to help, unfortunately. All right, I'm going to take a little bit off of this. I got 135 yards to go, and these clubs would carry 132 yards. By the time it gets there, it's going to kind of just bounce right past the hole. So we're going to take a little bit off and hope we still make it to the hole. We got a perfect shot there. So now it's all about my terrible judgment. I took too much off. And there's like a hill in front of the hole. All right, it seems like it's a pretty straight shot from here, though. I did make it to the top of that kind of hill in the front of the green.
Well, I find myself here in flop country.
You do, but in the light rough, so
it's gonna. I'm probably gonna hit it too far, honestly.
Yeah.
But I don't see how I'm gonna avoid that. So I'm just not even gonna try.
Anyway, yeah. So Jeff, this week I have spent my entire week kind of holding back rants about the various changes that platforms have been making. So that's been an interesting state of affairs to watch. So this is a pretty straight shot, but it's 36 feet.
Is it? I feel like there's quite a bit of break to the right.
It's all very slow break. Like,
that's true. It's going to add up over time.
Yeah, well, that's my problem. If this was a 10-yard shot, I would have to worry almost not at all about the break. But with 36 feet...
It's a 12-yard shot.
12 feet is what I meant. If it was a 10-foot shot, it would be less worrisome.
I find it shocking how much confidence you're expressing in your ability to make a 10-foot putt.
I feel that I would have been much more confident with a 10-foot putt than I was with a 36-foot putt.
Oh, yeah, more confident. I think you still would have missed it.
I would have been fine, internet celebrity Brad Prichard. Fine, I tell you.
All right, I got to make this putt. I had a rough start to this hole. Well, I can't get rid of the tutorial. Okay, there we go.
He didn't say the deficit wouldn't be a problem. He said it wouldn't blow up, which he's correct. Because the question that was brought to him was, what are you going to do when the deficit and when the debt becomes unsustainable and we can no longer even afford to make the payments on our debt because all of our budget is soaked up in debt payments? And the answer is by the time that happens, I won't be president anymore. And he's right. But it's not a great look. I made that 5-foot putt, so, you know.
Yeah, it looks like you seized the honors with ease.
Let's see.
I'm a little annoyed. My putt just didn't break, and that doesn't seem right to me.
In the previous shot?
I don't need a tutorial on reading the scorecard. It's not that difficult.
So yeah, I mean, the reality is that I have grown tired, I have grown exhausted of complaining either that Trump is a hypocrite or that Trump is an idiot or that Trump has only his own interests at heart and cares not at all about the country. Like each of those things is now like, and I know that there was this whole like don't let the Trump presidency be normalized bullshit earlier in his tenure, but like at this point it has been normalized. Like this is the president we have. We have a president who does not care about anyone but himself and who is terrible for the country. That's the way it is. Go more right, I guess, would be the advice I would give from my shot.
Well, I mean, you didn't hit it right either. So.
Oh, did I hit it wrong? Okay.
But so far I haven't hit my shots too great, so I'm not full of confidence.
Sounded like a good whack. Looked like a good whack.
But even, I mean, I am pretty far to the left. That was still a little risky. It's gonna work out, but
yeah. See,
looks like this course has very little light rough, so I think staying in the fairway is going to be extremely important.
Yeah. I just want to point out that your ball is only about like 3 yards different from where I landed, and so despite my hitting it badly, I don't think that was the primary problem that I had.
Hey, you got lucky that the slope was there and it didn't really roll very much.
All right.
It was immediately apparent that that was not a good shot.
So, internet celebrity Brad Prichard, Jeff Harbaugh is asking for a Brad update.
Woo! That actually turned out fine.
It's okay.
I mean, considering how you hit it, it's great.
Yeah. Well, I was hitting it with a 3-wood out of the heavy rough, so I'm not too surprised.
That's extremely difficult to do, and I don't even know why you tried.
Because it seemed like the best trade off the distance.
To the green.
No, you cannot get to the green.
I can't get it to anywhere.
You gotta take the easy layup.
Fuck that shit. I need to get the honors back is what I need. I'm aiming right for this tree.
Good luck, sir. So as far as I know, Brad, your biggest problem with your new apartment / new iOS install on your computer is that at this point, no VPN software at home works for you to connect reliably to a streaming service. Is that still the summary of the state of affairs?
That's pretty correct. Things have, I'd say, gotten a little bit worse. It just seems to me that China's trying to attack VPNs on all vectors. And so I've had a lot of VPN stability on download lately, which has not been the case. It's just been upload that was a problem before, but now it's kind of everything. So that's not good.
That's moving in the wrong direction.
I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I still need to set up a different VPN on my Linode server, but last time I tried, it didn't go very well.
Yeah. I was attempting to set up a Docker instance for the software I was working on with the DSA and learning that I don't have any idea how Docker works, and if the instructions that I am given do not work exactly, there is no way that I can have anything like a chance of resembling achieving what is proposed.
That's what I found out as well. And like the instructions we use for the L2TP Docker app were really good.
Yes.
And the ones for the IKV2 one are awful, and I don't understand them.
Yeah, so definitely, like, I have this whole doc on, like, how to deploy Lumio using Docker, and, like, I walk through the whole thing, and at the end, what I appear to get is, like, an Nginx server or an Nginx server that has no app running behind it, and I have, like, no idea how to debug any of it, and I'm like, I don't know what to do now. Like, you were supposed to take care of this for me, and it is not working.
Yeah, that's the weakness of Docker, right? If it doesn't work immediately, I don't think you have a lot of troubleshooting steps that are going to be obvious to you.
I mean, I assume that if you use Docker routinely, this is something you can just figure out. But as someone who does not use Docker routinely, yeah, no, they should have all manual writing go to the people who do Lego builds. I agree. Like, that seems like the right solution. Yeah, so you can see why the red tees are not very different from the other ones. Like, when they start each of these courses, it's like the tees are just 5 yards apart.
I'm trying to look for an alternative place to aim here, but I don't really think there is one.
Aim for the water.
I mean, if you hit through these trees, you got a good shot.
Trees are 90% air. You tell me all the time.
I don't think it's viable this time, unfortunately. The trees need to be about 100% air for me to have any confidence on that one.
too
Hey,
much.
Billy.
Too much tree. Hello, Philly. We have internet celebrity Brad Prichard joining us for playing golf today, so I'm glad you were here to visit both me and him. It's nice to have you. I guess there's 10 people watching the stream. It's so weird that there's like 10 people watching and like 2.5 talking. Like, where's all the rest of the people? I mean, I guess there are 5 who said something.
You might have gotten the golf club crowd.
I have the golf club crowd here with internet celebrity Brad
Biggest
Prichard.
bunch of lurkers on the internet. They don't talk much.
No, they don't. It's true. Okay, yeah, no, I see what you're saying here, where if you just hit right through these trees, you got this nice little place that would take you close to the hole, but...
Yeah. If there were 2 trees, I would have gone for, but that third tree, the red one, kind of threw me.
Yeah, no, I get you. I mean, I guess I could try and, like, hook it, but we've established that I have no idea how to do that.
Worked for either of us?
It's never, ever worked for either of us. That is correct.
I feel like maybe we should have practiced more, but every time it happens, it's just such a disaster that I don't feel like practicing it.
Yeah. It's like, it's hard to motivate yourself to practice something where you do never feel like you're making any progress. Like, oh, I'm on a hill here. This is going to be bad.
Did you club down?
I think so, yeah, because I went to the right place.
I was about a centimeter from the rough, so.
Yeah.
Hello, Org.
Hi, Org. I am happy with where I ended up if there had not been this weird hill in the middle of, like, what's going on.
The hill's not going to bother you that much. The 200 yards away, 8 feet up, wind in your face thing might.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I want. Like, that's actually pretty good. I mean, I got a 200-yard club. Like, with 8 feet up and wind in my face, like, this is going to end up pretty much perfect.
I hope we can go to that city after the round.
I mean, I'm going there for drinks. Whether you can come or not is another question.
Well, that was a lovely shot, Chris.
See? It worked out great. Thanks.
You got around 155 yards out.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to go fair enough.
Let's see. Does this link do what I think it does? I guess I can take the maybe late start out of my stream title because we did not start late because I left the DSA meeting after not getting anything done for an hour and a half.
You rage quit the DSA meeting?
No, I did not. Golf club. I didn't actually ever write a description for this stream either. Oops. I just
all the descriptions right there in the title. You did an excellent job.
Yeah. No, I didn't rage quit. Someone else came who had not eaten dinner, and so she was like, okay, I'm not being very effective here. And I was like, yeah, I am, like, I know the things I need to do, and I have an obligation, so I'm going to leave. So the two of us left at the same time. It was fine. But, yeah. Anywho, it's,
Yeesh.
it's a thing. Oh!
It broke more than I thought.
Did you see that I have been nominated for Arms Control Person of the Year?
No, I didn't feel like you've done that much to control arms. I mean, I appreciate that you haven't made any new gun purchases.
Yeah, so the 4,000 anonymous Googlers who signed a petition to have Google cancel Maven are one of the people on the list of potential winners of Arms Control Person of the Year.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Which feels a little bit like, I mean, it's silly for me to even describe myself that way, and given that the other people on the list are like individuals like the Secretary General, like taking a class of 4,000 anonymous Googlers and putting them in the same list feels a little bit unfair, especially because a bunch of those Googlers found out about it, and at least some of them, like myself, are going to vote for themselves. So, you know... Like, the Secretary General is one person, but you got 4,000 people who can vote in this class and you know, vote themselves in. This feels like a really silly choice on their part.
But I mean, even by stopping Project Raven, which I'm fully behind, I don't think that actually stopped the government from pursuing the same tech with somebody else.
Nope, that is correct. Like Jetty is 100% still going forward and is expected to have much of the same impact. I will say there's a whole bunch of people who, because Googlers spoke out about it, like in AI institutes and educational institutions and stuff like that, like became aware and activated like for more oversight and like control. So I do think that there's a like a real level to which increasing transparency is actually a thing that's going to happen, but it is still the case the government's going to try and build it. They'll just build it with somebody else. Oh yeah, I did finish the Lego thing. So it's come apart in pieces a couple times. So I've got, but this is like one piece here. This is the first stage, and I finished all of them, and they're on the floor behind me in various pieces. But yeah, so I finished it all. I don't have it all together at the moment, but it is there. Oh, you didn't? Did you not make it in? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I sure didn't. That wasn't a very good putt. That was my own fault.
All right, nice.
Yeah, and this is like the final stage. There. You got it in.
I hope so on that 2-footer. Man, can I make it to the green? Not really.
You are we are staying even though, right? We're both at even par at the moment. Or no, we're both. No, we're both at
we
even par.
absolutely both are at even par.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no denying it. Roll, motherfucker. Hole in one, bitches. Curve.
Wow, look at that roll.
I know, it wouldn't stop.
The basement
That's a
is
legit eagle opportunity.
The basement is so much cleaner now than it used to be. It's really incredible. And every week I take out more, like now that I've started on this process, like every week I take out more stuff. Like this week I took out like another 14 laundry detergent bottles that had gathered, fallen behind the washing machine.
Now, I feel like it would be fairly easy to point some fingers at people for having all of these laundry detergent containers.
You know the person is me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know whose fault this is. I'm not.
Well,
Yes! Nice.
get in the hole! Oh, that tree was not air. Look how helpful it was.
Look at how perfect that tree hit was. Bouncing off a tree into the fairway. Best kind of approach.
You know, some players have been known to reach the green and one on this par 4.
I mean, that's true. Those players are not named CPG. They're named Internet Celebrity Brad Prichard. It's not a par 4, is it?
It's a par 4.
Oh, that feels like a short par 4.
It's extremely short. Well, he could have played the white tees and it would have been about 1 yard longer.
But yeah, so in addition to the basement being clean, or in addition to the basement being cleaner and me being motivated to do that, because I have all of the lights down there now, it's also way more lit up. And I have them set up so that when I turn on the main lights for the basement, they turn on. So I can actually like see things, which changes a lot of how it feels to clean the basement. Because cleaning the basement before, like it was like 2 CFL fluorescent bulbs that were in one half of the basement, and the entire rest of the half of the basement isn't electrified or lit. So like I could never see anything. And now that I have these like nice, you know, studio lights set up down there that I can point around, I can just like see so much more stuff and clean it up. It's great.
That is great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty irritated with myself that I didn't pick up a stroke on you there.
Yeah, I can feel that. It was such a great eagle opportunity that unfortunately you were not able to capitalize on. I'm sorry.
The break was a whole lot more serious than I thought it was.
So I kind of wish that Overwatch had a mode without voice comms. Like a comp mode without voice comms.
Can't you just mute everybody?
Well, no, because that like the problem is that then the other team has voice comms and the other players have voice comms and they yell at you for not listening to them or whatever. Like I wish.
Yeah, you don't even know they're yelling at you. So you're doing great.
Well, so voice comm, like gameplay in Overwatch is focused around the idea that you will be communicating via voice. Like in Splatoon, In Splatoon, that's not the case, right? Like in Splatoon, you use the limited set of like commands that you have to communicate rather than using your, real human voice. And I feel like that's what oh my God, this heavy rough.
You're in a lot of trouble here, big
I
boy.
am screwed. There's nothing I'm gonna get out of this. This is gonna go
Good
nowhere.
news for you is I can't putt. I still can hit the ball, but I've forgotten how to putt. I haven't made a good putt all around.
There's no way.
And that's because I'm a lot better than you, and I'm not better than you at that today.
Oh, it's gonna end up in the rough again. Oh,
Rough to rough?
Rough to rough.
Oh. And there is just no light rough. Just that thin strip to taunt you.
Yes. But yeah, so in Splatoon you have two things. You have like Booyah and whatever the other one, like two commands that you can use that are basically like over here, or like look out or whatever. And oh no, you're gonna bunkerize that.
Yeah, I got that slow backswing.
You got the bunk. I gotta pull out the bunker buster. Yeah, so like Overwatch has enough of the like oh, I'm gonna bunkerize it too. Man,
Wow.
this is not my hole.
Yeah, things have really gone off the rail, but
I mean, you're still doing okay. You can pull out a par here, maybe.
I can get a birdie. Screw you.
Okay, sorry. I was trying to give you like a decent amount of credit, and you felt like you were pushing back on me.
I might get a birdie. I don't think so. I'm not good at putting.
Well, you'd have to get a birdie. Wouldn't it have? Oh, that was just your third stroke. Oh yeah, you can still get a birdie.
Yeah, I didn't hit it in the rough twice. If you recall.
Okay, yeah. You can get a birdie. Yeah, you're sitting pretty. You're good.
I have not made a decent putt yet this round, so I don't think so.
You're only 12 feet away. It's gonna be good.
That's so far away. In my prime, I would argue that I could make that, but I'm not in my prime. That's a far superior shot with a putt that even you can make.
Maybe. Let's just.
All right, it's a pretty straight putt, though. Maybe I can make this. And
Go,
it's
Brad.
uphill.
Go, Brad. Go.
I did not make it.
Oh no.
Good distance, though.
Yep.
God damn it. Can't believe I didn't pick up a single stroke in these last two holes.
Well, you still got a chance here.
You're gonna make this. I believe in you.
Oh, fuck!
Which may have been a mistake.
Yep.
Oh. That's not how I really want to pick up strokes. I prefer to get some birdies rather than you get bogeys.
This is supposed to be an easy course.
Bogeys aren't amusing for you unless you get like 10 in a row. Then they're hilarious.
Yeah, Julie, you can share it with me. That's fine.
Can you read her gender theory paper on the stream?
No, I think that would be rude.
Well, what if she gives permission?
Julie, would you feel comfortable with me reading your gender theory paper on stream? That would be less rude. You are correct.
See, look how easygoing Julie is. I don't think that's going to go fair enough. Well, if I hit it much harder, it wasn't going to do much better anyway. So.
Yeah,
So
that seemed like it's about as good as you could have ended up.
I'd recommend not doing that.
What'd you do?
I took just a little bit off, barely.
Oh, yeah.
And that was not the right thing to do.
Oh, perfect fast.
Uh-oh. That doesn't sound right. It's still straight, though, so it probably won't be a disaster.
Okay. Good. Good.
Oh, yeah, that was a beauty.
Yep.
You're poised to reclaim the honors.
I am poised to.
I don't like this putt at all, so there's that. Oh my god, the break!
Oh, whoa. Oh, fuck.
What the hell's going on here?
My
Oh,
PS4.
I thought he made it. He was perfectly happy with that shot.
My PS4 remote has a touchpad in it, and I brushed my finger across it when bringing my hand back to my controller.
Well, I mean, your guy just aimed straight to the right, hit the ball, then pumped his fist gleefully. So I'm pretty sure you made it.
I did not make it, and then I missed it again even after that because there was more break than I expected.
It looks like the wheels are falling off for Plays Games.
Yeah, I am going to not read Julie's gender theory paper on stream because...
All right, I thought it was going to be great, and I was looking forward to it, but I understand.
Yep. The content is not stream appropriate in this case. Not because she's writing about a topic which is... because it's studying The Handmaid's Tale, which is not exactly a stream appropriate topic in all cases.
Where do I aim this thing? Alright.
I should drink beer is what I think Org Chaos is saying.
I think he's correct about that.
Alright, looking good so far?
So I mean, I don't think you're gonna brush your little touchpad any more times with a few beers, so.
I can't. It's such a shitty... I'm going to take one stroke off my score. In my head. In my head.
I'm gonna add in my head. I think you're going to miss that putt badly anyway, and then you're going to two-putt from there, so you're really +2 in my heart.
No, I did exactly what I was going to do. I missed the putt. Even after I did the touching, it didn't move anywhere when I brushed my finger across the touchpad, so... I don't think that moved anything.
I could tell that swing was going to be way too hard. It was going to be about a good 15 feet past the hole.
Yeah, Julie, I skimmed it before I was going to read it online. I'm foolish, but not immensely foolish. I rarely read things on my stream without at least thinking about what might be in them first.
Oh, man, that's a beauty.
That's a pretty good shot. I'm pretty happy with that. Yours went farther.
I mean,
how did yours go farther?
Was more visually appealing because you challenged the tree and won.
How did you... Oh, you just hit it more to the right and it went farther? But why did it go farther?
Well, I mean, it's probably a matter of inches. How do you feel about this 25-foot uphill and 7-mile-per-hour wind in your face?
I'm not sure how I feel about it, but overall, with the result I've got, I'm pretty happy.
That looks great.
Rolled a little bit farther than I wanted, but not too bad.
Always does.
Always does. Same as it ever was, as they say.
Oh, what? I'm way closer to the pin than you, actually.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I'm really not confident about this shot, so.
But yeah, so I've spent a large chunk of this week being having conversations about Tumblr's new restrictions on porn and why they probably exist. Of course, Facebook's new sexual solicitation policy is absolute trash fire in every way. Oh, I lost Brad. So hopefully I'll get him back in a moment. I expect it is his internet that caused the problem because he was also playing golf club and then was not. So see if we get a call from him in just a moment. I am going to just slightly sunk it.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, welcome back. Your internet broke.
My internet did break. How do I get back in this game?
You should be able to resume course, and then it should bring you back in.
And my girlfriend has just informed me that it's snowing.
In China?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the window and check this out real fast.
Where you live in Shanghai? No, that's not right. Starts with an S. Cities in China that start with S.
Of course I live in Shanghai, Chris.
Shanghai. There we go. Okay.
I gotta probably turn order back on because that doesn't stay on for some reason.
Yep, that is correct. It's 40 degrees out. How can it be snowing?
It is not 40 degrees out.
It's not?
And it is snowing.
The internet weather says it's 40 degrees out.
Ah, shit. Now I got the handicaps and you're beating me. Fucking A.
Oh, right. And now I've got the problem that it thinks that honors are different. Okay. Here we go. Alright. So where do I want to go here? I assume you are waiting on me to shoot.
I am not.
Oh, okay. I don't know why. Alright.
Oh, God, please stop.
I don't know what to do. I'm gonna hit it near you. I'm going through the tree, and I made it through cleanly.
Wow, like going just right for the heart of that tree, too.
Boom, shakalaka.
Now bounce it off that covered bridge.
Alright, I am watching your shot now. And I'd say that, like, mine turned out better.
I'm still in the fairway, so mine's just fine.
Fair enough. Mine looks better, but...
Yeah, yours looks better, but in function, it's not actually any better.
I agree. I'm aiming for that house.
I mean, yeah, I think that's what you gotta do.
Shoot.
Aim right for that ranch style, which I believe that's what that is. That's not gonna work out.
Nope. But it didn't land in the bunker.
I think you would prefer the bunker to the heavier up. I mean, it's debatable, but I think so.
So now Google Weather thinks that it's 43 degrees in Shanghai, which is, I guess, what you're telling me it's not.
I think it's not, but I mean, I can't really tell. I didn't feel the air.
Oh, wait, now it says it's
But
40.
I mean,
I don't know. I can't tell. Never mind.
It's got to be closer to freezing than that. Otherwise, I just don't think there'd be snow at all. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not sticking to the ground, but...
Does it usually snow there? That sounds like you're surprised by
it
it.
snows about once every 3 years.
Okay. Today is the day. Oh!
Right in the hole?
That worked out
Right in
fine!
the hole! Beautiful shot. Well played. Really worked those angles.
It's like just bounce that ball right over the green. Oh god. That was quite a swing.
Christ, I can't read a green to save my life.
Oh no. Sorry.
All right, I can make this.
Nice.
Yeah, well, in the game's opinion, that was a par. Stupid handicaps.
I got a birdie, and so did you, and that's all that matters.
I got a par as far as the game's concerned.
So do you see me now, or you?
Yep, I've lost the honors. It's
Okay.
amazing that actually changes.
Yeah. So the problem is, of course, that in my game's mind, that you didn't lose the honors, so I have to turn off turn order briefly. On the plus side, we've done this enough times now that I'm used to it, so there's that. All right, so there's 10-mile-per-hour wind blowing to the left. Let's go ahead and hit that. So I was trying to figure out, according to the internet, like the FOSTA-SESTA laws go into effect in January, but I read the law and it doesn't say anything about January. So I don't know what the internet is on about. It seems like they're just wrong, which, I mean, someone is wrong on the internet. Oh no, but a lot of people who seem like they have blue checks next to their name, so maybe they know what they're talking about, but then I don't know if they know what they're talking about.
Well, I mean, I can say with some confidence that I don't know how the implementation of laws works.
Yeah. Ugh. Fucking. Ugh.
Man, this wind. I don't know where to aim.
I would aim towards the hole.
know, aiming towards the hole, I mean, it'll go well to the left of the hole. So
Oh.
wow,
Well, don't
why
do
the
that.
fuck did that go so far? Fuck you, shot. Yeah, coming back though. Come on. Yeah, it's not gonna keep coming on.
Go, 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 go. Keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling. 1, 2 yards of roll. Come on, give me 3, give me 3, give me 3. Oh, we can't get 3.
Look at that shot. It didn't go way too far. Nicely done. Oh man, this looks pretty fucking straight, but I've been deceived many times today.
Yeah, it feels like it goes both ways, like some kind of AC/DC. See, that was a reference to a song lyric.
Yeah.
I don't even know what song. I can think it in my head, but I don't know what song it is. That did not go in. Hello,
Yeah.
Lace the Revenite.
Putts didn't look too good there. I didn't even hit mine hard enough.
We got some nice waterfall action in the background, at least, so there's that.
Oh, it's lovely, especially in these ultra graphical settings.
That's right, because this is the first time you played Golf Club on your brand new computer.
That's true.
All
And it's
right.
running very smoothly. I wish VPN could be more like the Golf Club.
AC/DC was a band. The reference to swinging both ways like some kind of AC/DC is a song lyric from some song that I don't remember what it is. But it's What I Got, isn't it? Who's saying What I Got?
You have selected Power Drive. Like, I don't want to be where you are. I'd rather not be on the green than end up like that.
Fair enough. Oh, I think I lost Brad again. Yeah, so this is a 70-yard putt with a hill in the middle. Ugh, a big hill in the middle. And a wicked curve to the left. So that was definitely not where I wanted it to be. Beck, where it's at. Yes. What about those who swing both ways? AC/DCs. That's a lyric from where it's at. I got 2 turntables and a microphone. Where it's at. I got 2 turntables and a microphone. Anyway, welcome back, Brad, I think.
Thanks.
I assume this time you did not lose your connection to the golf club as well.
I did not.
Good.
I could hear you the whole time also, so it was only a partial disconnection.
Gotcha.
Fuck this shit. Who knows where this putt's gonna go?
Did you see my my cool puzzle last week? I forget.
I don't think so.
Oh, I laser cut a puzzle.
Well, fuck you, game.
Oh, come on. Nothing. You can't catch a fucking break. Or you catch too much of it when you do catch any.
Well, the last 2 putts, I've simply not hit them hard enough. I know that one would have gone in if I hit it a little harder. The other one, maybe.
I hit it right through where your ball would have been.
I mean, you're gonna get the par, right? And I'm gonna get a birdie, and I'm probably still not gonna get the honors.
You'll still have the honors on my screen, so... Wow, you got an eagle.
No, I didn't. That was a par 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. I figured out what happened.
I deserved an eagle, but my putt didn't go in.
No. It was, I turned off turn order while you were still putting, and so it showed me the end of hole screen even though you weren't done hitting that putt. That's all. Because if I don't turn off turn order, then I will sit staring at the screen waiting for you to putt, and you will sit staring at the screen waiting for me to putt. All right.
Oh, that's a beauty.
It's a pretty good hit. I'm going to go grab a beer. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll hit a shot while you're away.
Yep.
And now we wait for Chris to go get his beer, and then he's going to hit this shot into the bunker next to the green. I can hear him.
Okay, I am back. I'm ready for action. 244 yards, 245-yard carry, 7-mile-per-hour wind in my face, 11 feet up. I'm going to aim slightly to the right and add a little bit to it and hope for the best.
This is going right in the hole.
It is not going right in the hole. It's not even going to make it to the green.
No, but you didn't. While you were away, I said you were going to hit it into the bunker in front of the green, so you overachieved.
I appreciate the nice things you think about me. So did you see the news that Microsoft Edge is going to be moving away from maintaining their own renderer and engine, browser engine now?
Did see that. I was kind of bummed. I think they shouldn't do that.
So I think I read somebody. So Swift on Security is this, like, I don't know, Taylor Swift parody account that knows things about computers, that account was commenting that they think this is more about Electron apps and attempting to make let Microsoft make changes or like set up things so that Electron apps on Windows will not suck. So this is them buying into the Chrome environment because at this point all desktop apps are just becoming web apps and they're all becoming Electron apps. So if Microsoft buys into Chromium, then they can have control over that. Yes!
What? What are you yesing about? What a shot. Man, got an eagle? I'm not going to get an eagle, that's for sure.
You could make it. It's a 34-foot putt. You could do it.
I think I hit it too hard.
Oh, no. Oh, no. After all the things that you didn't hit hard enough.
I hadn't hit a legitimately long putt yet, so I didn't really know how to do it.
You hadn't gotten the feel for long putts.
Oh.
Ugh. Oh, come on, beer, open.
Come on.
There we go.
Man, that one is getting destroyed. I'm losing by 5 strokes.
I mean, only in Brad Prichard land. You're ahead by 2 strokes in CPG land, so. All right. I don't know what to do here. Take a little off of it, I guess? I feel like I got to, otherwise it's going to just bounce right by. Should take a little bit more off of it, but I'll take that.
That's pretty good if it stops. I mean, that's just the kind of putt that you make with regularity.
Yeah, I would love to have it be 3 feet closer, but I'll take what I can get. So I'm drinking the Peach Upland Sour Ale today.
I've also hit it way too hard. Hit Chris's ball. Are you having problems with the current version of Microsoft Calculator or?
I mean, I think the reality is that Microsoft is always trying to find ways to make their developer experience better. Like, that's the primary thing that they're doing. in almost all cases. And so whatever they do, that's always where they're trying to go, because their platforms that they have been building for and other things like that have evolved. Like, they have had to make changes, and yes, they've rebuilt things, and they've encouraged people to use new things, but every developer experience I've had with Microsoft has been a really positive one. I'm gonna turn off turn order and play a shot while Brad comes back to us. All right, so we're 16 feet, which is a pretty long putt for me. And a lot of break, I feel like. Are you back? I think you're back.
I should be back soon.
Yeah, you're back. Oh! Rolled right by it.
That was a tough downhill putt. I would have been pretty impressed if you made it.
And let's go back uphill.
Ugh.
Oh no, I missed that too!
I could easily be missing this one as well. This is not looking how I'd like it to.
Oh, and I'm not going to be able to watch it because I didn't push the buttons at the right time.
Yeesh. This green's killing us.
You know, we lined it up with the hole, and then, like, everything lined up with the hole is, like, a nightmare. Turn order back on.
I'm watching all your missed putts, and it's really entertaining. Wow, now the game says I'm 4 over. This is awful. Man.
I mean, you haven't played for, like, 6 months. Your handicap is no longer really relevant in the same way.
I can't disagree with that. The results bear out what you're saying. Look at that center cut.
137 yards to the hole is going to be a pain in the butt, though.
It'll be fine. It'll be
But
great.
yeah, so I think there's a lot of people who are upset because having a third major browser implementation obviously changes things around web standards, and there's concerns over Chromium's governance and whether they just kind of are beholden to whatever Google wants and not to the general what's good for the web. But I've also seen claims that basically, like, the reason that Microsoft is changing away from Edge probably has little to do with their inability to keep up with web standards and more to do with the fact that they realized that outside the web they were losing the game. And I think that is fair, that more and more like the Discord app or the Slack app, like, those things are not applications built for a specific, like, desktop. They're just Electron apps, like, they're just Chrome wrapped in an app wrapper. And at some point, if you're a desktop OS manufacturer, you want to be able to offer better experiences for people on your OS for those things that are wrapped that way, which means you've got to get in the game and you know, compete in the place where everyone is. All right, let's see if I judge this right. I hit it pretty much perfect. I did not judge it right at all.
Well, the thing is, I don't think Edge is a particularly bad browser. When it first released, it was kind of bad. There were lots of rendering errors and crashes and stuff. That's mostly been resolved, honestly. But I think they lost any chance they had a user adoption, so...
Yeah. No, I mean, it was like at 3% or something like that. I mean, it was...
Yeah.
It's like... It's
not... I think that perspective is absolutely correct, because I don't see any way that Microsoft gets Edge to be a popular browser, and certainly changing your rendering engine is not really an attempt to do that.
Right.
Nobody cares about that. They care if it works or not.
Right. Ugh. Yeah, and the only thing is, so do they still do like, do they do mobile browser? Like, so that's another thing, right? When I open things in Edge, it's like, send this link to your iPhone via blah, blah, blah. And so, like, they're going to continue to try and do those app level things where they, you know, on mobile or whatever, and integrating with these other apps. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's, but it is.
Yeah, and I'm of course the Edge for iOS it's forced to be on WebKit. There's no choice on that.
Right.
And I believe that their Android version is also on Blink. I don't believe it uses the Edge HTML renderer, even though it's allowed to. So yeah, not much of a change there. But I think it is a shame to lose diversity of browser engines because we are getting. I mean, there's between WebKit and Blink, not much since Blink's just a fork.
Yeah, well, so I think there's actually a fair amount of difference between WebKit and is Blink Chromium's thing.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a fair amount of difference there. Like, they started out as a fork, but there's been a fair amount of divergence there. Like, even something as, like, basic as... I'm pretty sure that Safari didn't implement WebGL at all, like turned on by default for, like, years after Chrome had it, because they were doing their own entirely separate, like, WebGL implementation.
Probably.
And I realize that that's, like, not mainstream web development, but when you look at the stuff that really... is where there's a lot of innovation, everyone's still doing their own thing because doing it is hard as opposed to like a simple matter of programming type gig. But I think that that's the type of thing that Microsoft wants to get into as well. And they're like, okay, well, it doesn't make sense to do all of the rendering bits. So instead we'll take this and then we'll write like Microsoft specific bits that make WebGL better on Windows, and we don't have to own making it perfect on every other platform in order to have that be effective.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as Firefox still exists with their own renderer, I'm fine. And I would say I was certainly not concerned about Chromium governance. I think they handled it just fine. I think that Google was able to embrace the open source community and multiple contributors from outside their org and stuff. But I think adding Microsoft to that will strengthen it. It'll make the governance better, so no problem.
Yeah. I mean, the question will be kind of how does Google handle that, frankly? Which I'm inside Google and I don't know the answers to that. Like, that's like a real question that we're asking too. It's like, what is your plan here? How do you plan to do that? Like, what are you, because they didn't, it wasn't a case where they talked to us about it first. I'll tell you that much. That was a pretty...
Well, I think that with recent changes, nice shot, to the way that Microsoft operates, I think it will be fine. I think all of the moves they have made towards supporting open source in general have been really positive.
I mean, Google has effectively has governance over Chrome org, but they don't have governance over Firefox. No, Firefox makes their own decisions, and Google has very little say or influence in the development of the Firefox browser.
And Firefox, I feel like at this point, really, really hates Google. So
I will say that it is a at times tense relationship. Do you see me or you?
I see me.
Okay.
But I mean, I have the honors legitimately this time on.
That's fine.
There's no cap on that hole, so
that's fine. I just can't tell until I ask.
Hey, my game's not running right. That's classic golf club. Just a little stuttering, nothing major.
So yeah, Mozilla. Our personal, like for YouTube, for example, we had a lot of conversations with them, and we built up a working relationship where we shared data and we would talk about we generally had an open and positive relationship with them. But it is definitely the case that Mozilla considers their independence from Google to be a hugely important factor for them, and like their advertisements are basically like, we're not Chrome, fuck those guys.
Pretty much.
My opinions are my own and not those of my employer. But when I walked off the plane in San Francisco and saw a Firefox ad, I was like, wow, what is this company that really hates Google? Oh, it's Mozilla.
Of course it is.
Alright, that worked out okay.
Okay, it looks a little dangerous, but there's plenty of fairway over there.
Yep, lots of fairways. We're okay. I mean, everyone's always like, this browser is turning into this other browser, and the reality is that they're not. The reality is that browsers keep innovating, and they innovate in a space that is shared. They innovate in a space where everyone is working on doing the same things, and a lot of the research about what makes a product good is actually, even if it makes some consumers upset, is actually like shared and very much the same between them. So it's not surprising when Firefox like has a lot of similar stuff to Chrome, even down to like copying UI elements, because all of that shit is driven by like data, like data experimentation on user behavior. So it would be weird if they didn't turn into each other if they are both good at doing what users expect and want. Fuck. Fast.
Ooh, and not straight. That's fine.
Nope.
Always works out fine for good old Chris Plays games.
No, the slow fast works out fine, not the fast.
I mean, honestly, I think that Mozilla's gone for a vastly different memory management situation than Chrome has.
Yeah, I don't know the technical aspects of it. I mean, I know that, for example, like VP9 was just a nightmare with them for so long because they just were putting no effort into it. So that was a huge problem for users of Firefox, because obviously that was where Google was investing a lot of the YouTube user experience, video user experience bits.
Oh, fuck off, game!
Sorry. That's rough.
It's just not going in.
GPU hardware acceleration for video decode is a terrible idea and should never be used. I exaggerate, but there's so many issues I fought with that. Like, the only way to do video acceleration in the browser with GPUs is to maintain in some way a giant blacklist of all of the chipsets out there that just totally screw the pooch. And that changes with versions of drivers, and it changes with the versions of the chip, and it changes with freaking everything. It's a nightmare. So, yeah. And the failure modes are so totally gross. Like, it'll be like the video is all green, or the video is the wrong color, like all kinds of shit that is just broken.
Oh, look at this fucking wind.
Right in your face.
And the 26 feet downhill, I got literally no idea where this is going to go, so I'm just going to hit it.
Yeah, VP9. Well, VP9 had experimental support that worked fine. And keep in mind that VP9 is not in any consumer hardware yet. Like, VP9 decode, I think like the 1080, like the 10 series NVIDIA cards finally added it. And so like there is hardware decode VP9 on those, but all of that was never GPU accelerated, and that was part of the reason why platforms didn't want to enable it. And so like on Edge, you can only watch VP9 if you have a card that supports hardware decode, because they're scared of the CPU penalty of doing CPU decode. Reasonably so. I mean, VP9 is an expensive codec, and implementing it isn't cheap, and I get that. And so but yeah, so Chrome did software like CPU decoded VP9 from before when I started at YouTube until like, you know, I think it still does. I think they do almost no hardware decode even when it's supported, because the hardware has not been like battle tested in any way, and so we're not really convinced it's gonna work. And you pay a penalty for that. Like, there's definitely a CPU penalty, especially on mobile devices, for doing VP9 decode in software. So
That putt's probably not that pleasing for you.
no, I'm not super excited about this. I agree. I did get it in though, so.
Oh, nice putt then.
So far, I'm 1 under for the course, for the round. So I'm pretty happy with that overall. Like, I mean, it could be better, but it's pretty
Sitting
decent.
here looking at the handicap scores, I'm just displeased with everything.
Do you see me or you?
I see me.
Okay. I screwed up. Sorry to have to ask that every hole.
That's okay. If I had functional internet, wouldn't have this problem.
I mean, I couldn't watch 4K 60 videos via Chrome before any meltdown. I've never been able to do that without dropping a third of the frames. Like, and that's expected. Like 4K at 60 is not a thing that the expectation is people should do this and watch this on desktop computers. Like the reason that 4K 60 works is for TVs. It's for TV chipsets and that are hardware decode, like 100%. There's no other reason that feature exists. It is not designed for the average desktop consumer because most people don't have 4K displays and almost nobody has like hardware that can do that. But 4K is a huge driver of TV sales. And so it is the type of thing that you can force TV manufacturers to do more work by giving them a thing that their devices can't do. And if they make 4K 60 work decently, it's likely that 1080p 60 will work well. And so, like, everything with TV manufacturers is giving them another carrot that they can hold out in front of idiot consumers who don't actually realize what value they're getting, but will buy something because the number is bigger on it. And in doing so, you can actually improve the experience for all of the other content that isn't that last 1% that nobody actually watches. I am very cynical about TV manufacturers, in case that is not obvious.
Oh, because you remember 3D TV?
I mean, I don't actually have memory of that, but like working at YouTube is like an educational process in how fucked up the entire TV ecosystem is.
Not really.
Hardware encoding wouldn't help, obviously. Decoding is the word you were looking for there. And also is the word that matters. I don't think there's any consumer hardware that has VP9 encode either. That's also why you can't watch 4K in H.264. Is in part because in order to give a decent quality video, you would have to add so many bits that most people's internet couldn't handle it, and in part because we know that people would try and just use their H.264 like, you know, existing chipsets that can't actually do 4K, and they would lie and say they could, and the experience would be terrible. And in part because you want to get people to actually do VP9 hardware, so that they can use VP9 for everything else. So if we say, okay, you can only have 4K if you're going to do VP9, now hardware manufacturers go out there and they put, you know, VP9 decode chips in silicone and silicon, whatever, and do that. So it's a whole cat and mouse game. You got to give them enough that they can go make some money off of it in order to get them to invest in taping out physical hardware designs to do something that they're not convinced will still be around for a long time or whatever. So, all right, course one down. You got,
you win.
you got 66. I got 72. I know that you've got some weird handicaps going on, but that's not how we're playing here tonight.
All right. Well, I'm going to go change my hair because I'm not happy with my golfer's hair.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can pick a course here that looks good. Let's pop in here. We can... Warm Springs Golf Resort and Spa. Seems like a decent course. Let's do that. Alright, we do have 4 sets of pins. So 6,800 yards, 7,100 yards, or 7,300 yards, Brad?
What were those choices again?
68, 71, or 73?
71 sounds good.
71. Gold tees.
Alright. I've got gray hair now. I'm happy with that.
Do you notice the hair while you're golfing?
I did, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
That didn't come from nothing.
I
I was primed to notice that I knew I'd made a questionable choice right away. So
I'm not sure if when you come in here, did you get a notification?
I did.
Okay, make sure to pick the gold tees if you get a chance to
I
choose that.
done.
Cool. And then turn on turn order because that's a feature that clearly can't be remembered for more than 12 seconds. Stupid. Cone will be the squishy stuff. Okay. Silicon.
That's correct.
Put VP9 decoding in silicon. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. It's all irrelevant now. I don't work for YouTube anymore. Oh, YouTube Rewind came out this week. It's terrible.
It did. I didn't watch it though.
It's really I'm sad because they changed the format. I'm sad because YouTube Rewind for the past you and I watched them all, Brad, when last year's came out, and
we did.
And they are all music videos that have a bunch of memes in them with like YouTubers who participated in those memes either for YouTube Rewind or in general. Like that's all YouTube Rewind is. It's not like it's never been anything other than that. And this year's Rewind is not that. This year's Rewind is it has some of that, but there's like way more talking, but they don't really tell a good story. And so, like, there's a middle, like, 2.5 minutes of it, which is just, like, they have all these YouTubers from different backgrounds and, like, roles and whatever, and they're all like, let's give a shout-out to all the blahs that did, like, stuff on YouTube this year. And it's like, shout-out to all the working moms, and, like, shout-out to all the food video makers, and, like, shout-out to the makeup people, and shout-out to the animation whatevers, and I'm just sitting there, it's like 2.5 minutes of just, like, people listing groups that they feel deserve representation in YouTube Rewind, and I'm just like, shout out to like actually doing something. Like, what is this? Like, and like, I appreciate that they're trying for representation. And then the last 2 minutes is basically like, oh, we have to look at the comments. And then they like take things that people commented on last year's review. Oh my God, what the fuck was that?
What the shit?
Like, that was a perfect shot, and it did not chip well.
Must have hit a rock.
I don't know what the fuck that was. Now
you got a lovely shot.
I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do now. Oh, God.
Are you yelling at me?
I hit the pole, at least. That's good.
That was a hell of a shot, Chris. Not that this putt's guaranteed or anything.
Oh, good God. Yeah, in the last 2 minutes, we're just like, we're gonna take comments from last year's YouTube Rewind, and we're gonna turn them into segments of this video. And it's like, God, what are you doing? Like, like just to be like, you did a thing, and yeah, they got a little bit more corporate over the years, but the format did not change. Like, the format of Rewind was exactly the same for 7 straight years, and now they're going and like fucking with the format in a way that just feels cheap. It's like show don't tell is an important concept in storytelling, and they decided that like what they were going to do is just make a list of all the things they wanted you to know that they really cared about, and then stick it in the middle part of the video.
That sounds great when you describe it that way.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. I don't know how anyone could dislike it. Fuck them.
But I think that you are more invested in the existing format than many people.
While that is true, I also think that many people who, like, okay, so who are you trying to satisfy with YouTube Rewind? Like, what are you trying, like, what audience are you targeting? Because if you're targeting YouTube superfans to make them feel good that their person was included, which, by the way, oh no, you didn't make it.
Oh, God damn it.
Like, if you are attempting to make people feel good that their person is included, then you don't need them to say why they're being included. Like, that's not a thing that you need from them. Like, people will look at them and be like, oh, it's my YouTuber and they're in this video. You don't have to recite for those people that they are like a mommy vlogger. Like, that's not a thing. So what are you trying to do by that other than impress some social subset of people that you're really good at representation? Like, that's all I can think of.
Maybe it's not for the YouTube super fans anymore. Maybe that's what they're trying to say. That they're changing their target.
Who is it for? That's what I want to know. Who is it for?
Is it a PR video?
But
PR purposes.
Why do YouTube? Also, YouTube has actually got oops, sorry, I hit the mic. YouTube has some skill at producing PR videos.
All I'm trying to say is it's not just a bunch of Paul brothers.
I mean, but that's fine. But Safia Nygaard isn't a Paul brother, and she was in the video and mixing up a bunch of makeups together in a witch's cauldron, and that's a cool thing. But then why do you need that was a fine part. She wasn't I am Safia Nygaard and I left BuzzFeed and here I am. Let's give a shout out to all the people who left BuzzFeed to come make YouTube channels. They didn't do that with her. They did again. Show, don't tell. Don't. Oh God, I'm gonna have to make you watch this in the lounge just so you can feel my pain more viscerally.
I bet I won't feel it that hard, honestly.
I will make you feel my pain. No, honestly, I think you might. I think even you might look at this and be like, this feels inauthentic. Which, not that YouTube Rewind was ever really authentic. Oh, nice fucking putt.
I thought I was gonna slide off. I felt lucky.
What a gorgeous fucking putt, Brad. That was amazing. And I sunk my bogey, I think. So that's great.
I think that was a par. That was fine.
That was par. Okay, you're right.
Just because the first hole went awry because of a shot that seemed unfair. I mean, I don't feel like you actually hit that one shot the way it showed up.
Oh, hey, down on it. Did you notice that ultra low latency now has DVR?
I did.
It's cool.
That is a really solid step in the right direction. The technology now is super solid.
Yeah, I am super psyched. The sad thing about that is that feature has been basically waiting for someone to write 3 lines of HTML template to ship for the past 6 months. There's nothing about that has not been technically possible on the live backend since VidCon. And every month or so, I would go to the live team and be like, so when can I have DVR on my ULL? And they'd be like, yeah, we're talking to the live team to put that in the list. Oh, God. Google's so big and fucked up.
Yeah, I don't think you'd find that any other large organization's doing that particularly better.
No, I mean, you're right. Google is probably one of the 10th biggest companies by software engineers in the world or something. So one of the 10th. One of the 10 is the words I meant to say there.
Yeah, that shot. I don't know if it's gonna work. The conditions are brutal, but
what the
good Lord,
fuck?
That didn't go anywhere.
No, it did not.
This wind. I don't know if this is going to be enough, but I'm not going more than 2 clubs up.
So I saw that Pornhub is attempting to capture refugees from Tumblr.
Sounds smart.
Yeah, I mean it's wise.
Do they have some sort of platform that I'm unaware of that would be appropriate for the people?
So I guess they have. A community section, so you can post image galleries and you can post text posts and other stuff like that. The problem that I have had is that it's really hard to kind of browse that information without browsing everything else that is Pornhub.
Yeah,
and that makes consuming that content a little. God, what the fuck? Like,
Stop selecting power drive.
I think.
Are
Oh,
you chipping instead of flopping?
I am chipping instead of flopping. I'm thinking that chipping is flopping, and it's not.
Okay, there you go. So it's another issue of not playing the game for 6 months where people get confused.
Yeah, no, I definitely had just been like trying to chip. I had been trying to pick a chip setting that put my carry distance at the hold distance, and that is not. That's not the thing you want to do. So let's be clear. Tumblr got nailed from the iOS App Store for claims of what the media reports are child porn, right? CSAI, child sexual abuse imagery, is the industry term. And it seems from people who know Tumblr much better than I do that this particular problem that Tumblr had is not news to a lot of people who are familiar with the Tumblr scene. Okay, so Tumblr had child porn, and people who use Tumblr knew it, and so that's not really a surprise that they got dinged on that. But that is not why they are reacting in the way they are now. What happened after that, and this is all speculation on my part, so my opinion is my own and not those of my employer or Tumblr or Apple. Nice putt. Or anyone else.
Perfectly straight, Chris. Don't get excited.
It was still a nice putt. But what happened after that is exactly the same basic pattern that you saw. God damn, I got a fucking double bogey again. As you saw on YouTube in early 2017. After someone identified, The Guardian, I think, identified that there were like extremist videos on the platform that were you know, pissing, like, that were problematic and had ads running on them. The entire advertising industry turned around and looked at YouTube and said, we're serving our ads on what? And I think that's exactly the same thing that you're likely seeing with Tumblr. With Tumblr, you are seeing a triggering story, which is iOS has decided there's child porn on Tumblr, and now every advertiser is going and saying, wait a second, we're advertising on Tumblr. And so they're going and telling Tumblr, like, you have to get rid of all of this shit that we don't like, which they can do because there's really only like one advertising cartel that controls something like 90% of the digital advertising spend in the world. And so once that happens, now Tumblr has to react not just to the things that got them kicked out of the Apple App Store, but instead everything that pisses off advertisers in order to maintain their position as a company that makes money. And not only that, they also are probably getting looked at by their payment processors. So they sell themes, premium themes that you can buy for somewhere between like $10 and $50, and those credit card processors are also backed by puritanical bank managers, because that's what underlies payment processing is banks, and banks get cranky about anything. And so I literally have like a friend who runs a nonprofit for sexual education, and she like opened a bank account, and 15 minutes later got an email from the bank branch or a call from the bank branch manager saying like, hey, is this what your account is for? And she was like, yes. And they were like, okay, yeah, your account is closed now. Like that's how banks work with anything regarding sex, right? And so like the banks looked at this and were like, what the fuck? And go to the payment processors and say, you can't take money from them anymore. And because they're owned by Verizon, that means that like they're probably all tied into the same like payment processing system. So Verizon is looking at this and saying like, if we don't clean up Tumblr, we can't take credit cards to charge people for their Verizon phones anymore. Now, I'm probably exaggerating slightly. It may not be quite that bad, but that's the kind of shit that does actually happen in like big corporations that have this shared infrastructure that is controlled by payment processors, which are fucking terrible. I do need to put it all on a whiteboard. And so because Tumblr takes money directly from credit cards, and because every advertiser and payment processor just got a big red flag saying like Tumblr hosts child porn, look at everything on Tumblr, now they're going to go and be like, you have to fix this now. And they're going to set a super strict timeline, or they're actually just going to pull their ads, right? Like that was what happened on YouTube. It's like, you know, some large chunk of ad spend, you know, according to reports on the internet, which have gotten me threatened to be fired before, like pulled their advertising spend from YouTube. This is like a huge issue that they just stopped spending money on Tumblr. And so now Tumblr has to go and clean up not just the things that they got in trouble for, but everything. And that's what you're seeing.
I mean, that's going to leave them with basically no community, though.
Oh,
It's just,
100%.
may as well shut it down.
Like the problem, the thing that made YouTube more safe in this case is like both a blessing and a curse. YouTube's advertising is so closely attached to the content that it serves because it's like pre-roll ads on videos that they are really like they're really tightly linked, which makes advertisers more upset. But at the same time means that you don't have to take the content down in order to stop the advertisers being pissed, because the ads run so closely connected to specific pieces of content that they will accept, okay, we won't run ads on this. But when YouTube rolled out its advertising, like keep in mind that when YouTube rolled out its changes to what videos could have ads run on them, they weren't willing to tell anybody which videos couldn't have ads run on them for 7 months after they instituted the changes, because the algorithms that were doing it were that bad. And so like Tumblr, there's so many screenshots, like I saw a picture of like line art drawings from patent applications was flagged as sensitive content. I saw a picture of Garfield, just Garfield, like an orange cat sitting on a white background, flagged as sensitive content. Like the amount of content out there that is being flagged is ridiculous. Like they have not done the bare minimum of training a model because they have no time, and because they have to take this content down because they're a feed-based advertising system like Facebook or anything else like that. Like they are like screwed, and all these people are going to get pissed and leave. They're going to destroy the community, and it will never recover. Like it will never recover. And
well, I mean, but they didn't have the breadth of content to recover from this anywhere. It was a haven for people who were into various
niche
kinks and stuff.
Yeah.
That's really all it was. So they've just lost their user base, and they may as well just shut it down. It's just a waste of time.
Maybe. I don't know. There may be more to Tumblr than that. It's hard for me to say because I'm not in that community. I mean, I have like several Tumblr accounts that I've used for various, like there's a Chris Plays Games Tumblr that has things that are not at all like sensitive.
I don't like the shot.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible, huh?
I feel like you did pretty well with it considering, because it's just a terrible fucking shot.
It's a terrible fucking shot.
See what terrible. Yeah, it's not good either.
But yeah, James Baker, I've basically been thinking all week about whether I should make a video on this, and I think the answer that I'm coming to is no, but the reason is because I am too like my YouTube experience is like so relevant here that I don't think I'd be able to keep my mouth shut about it. And it's exactly the thing. It's exactly the thing that talking about got me threatened with being fired before. So
yeah. So let's not talk about it too much.
This video is fine, but god damn it, that was such a good chip.
Come on.
It was perfect. Can't believe they didn't give me that.
I'm in a lot of trouble here. I'm in a world of hurt.
Cannot believe they didn't give me that.
Ooh, please stop at some point. God. So starting next year, this is very golf-centric, probably of no interest to you or anyone else. But starting next year, on the Pro Tour, people are allowed to leave the pin in while putting.
Really?
Yeah. And nobody really knows what the result of that's going to be. So I find that very interesting. Because some of the guys said, yep, I'm leaving the pin in.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an interesting, because it makes the amount of hole you can get in smaller, right? Like, you've got a pin, and if you come at it too fast, you're way more likely to bounce off. But if you're anywhere close to the right speed, it feels like that's a big win.
Well, I mean, even if you do hit it too fast, I think most of the time it'll be a big win. Because it'll slow it down at least, as long as you hit the pin.
So Org Chaos... This is one of those things where like it's really easy to draw inference. Like humans are really good at making patterns appear even when there are no patterns. Um, and all of the patterns that people have claimed about content that was prevented from having advertising on it was there as far as I looked at a lot of shit, and as far as I can tell, there is absolutely no truth to all of the patterns that people claimed. Instead,
Hi, Stingray.
hello, Stingray. Just like on what you're seeing in Tumblr, like people are like, oh, like this is being excluded because it's skin colored, or this is being excluded because it has a big white background, or this is being excluded because it's line art, and they train the model based on manga or whatever else like that. Like all of these like theories, while plausible, are exactly the same kind of theories that caused people to say that YouTube hated the color green and the letter H. And equally that they hated LGBT content. And the reality is that when you have a system which is wrong 50% of the time, it is very easy for humans to take the cases where it is wrong and construct a narrative. And this is what almost all of the people on YouTube were doing for months and months. And I just kept trying to say, like, look, it's not that it hates XYZ content, regardless of what XYZ is. What matters is that it hates everything pretty much equally. Like, everything it hates, just flip a coin and it's going to be wrong half the time. And it's really easy to draw patterns there because humans are so good at patterns. Nice. That's nice, right? That looks pretty good.
Not nice. It was fair.
I mean, it's 10 feet. You can do it.
I don't have any confidence.
It's fine, man.
I mean, in reality, I'm only 2 strokes up because you chose the wrong shot type twice. I don't feel like holding that against you unless you take the lead, in which case I will.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure I'm getting drunker and drunker, which is not improving my golf skills. So I don't think you have too much to worry about here.
I would be getting drunk with you if I wasn't celebrating Florence's birthday later. I feel like it would be wildly inappropriate to get morning drunk and then try to do that.
Well, and the problem is that like the value below threshold has a couple of problems, right? Like, god damn it, I'm gonna get like a 14 on this hole. Like, I don't even know what my score is. So there's thresholding problems, but thresholding problems with machine learned models assume that your ranking is decent. And so when you've got a really, really shitty ranking because your score function is so bad, it's not just about picking.
Touch that putt.
Where?
God.
I don't even know where the hole was, but you got screwed, man. I'm sorry.
That putt was impossible. Being above the hole on this one is apparently inadvisable.
Yeah, this is a nightmare. I'm gonna have to shoot it downhill too, I think. A little bit unclear from here. Nice! Nicely
yeah,
done.
it's still gonna be a bogey though.
So yeah, so people were like, "Oh, it hates gaming," or "Oh, it hates LGBT content," or "Oh, it hates the like." I literally had. Oh, you didn't go in? It went in on my screen. It went in on my screen. I'm sorry. I thought I wasn't trying to be like a dick. I actually thought it went in. It was a really nice putt.
Thanks.
You keep the honors though, so congratulations.
I like the combination of wind and elevation change. I mean, I don't care about the color of Starbucks holiday cups. I just demand that there be a certain percentage of Christian imagery, or I'm gonna be angry. Uh-oh. Don't do what I did.
Oh, you gotta be a little bit farther up.
That's the second time it's hit it like right below the crest of the shelf, and it's not working out for me.
But yeah, I mean, realistically, I think that YouTube finally got to the point where I think that they had the type of model I would have been comfortable with them shipping in like February of 2018, like a year after they started.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Tumblr does not have the same quality of engineers applied to the problem as Google did.
I also think that they have an easier problem. Fuck.
True. Very slow, huh?
Very slow.
Look at that thing. Get on the fairway. Yeah.
It's the wrong fairway.
There's no such thing as the wrong fairway. Oh, you're not on the fairway.
I'm not on the fairway.
It showed fairway on my screen.
Oh, okay. I did not make it to the fairway, and even if I did, it would have been the wrong fairway, so...
No such thing. Quit making stuff up.
I'm pretty happy with where I landed, to be frank.
You know what? I might not be that close. This is going to be an impossible putt. Wow, this is a really flat green.
And another part of the problem here is the overall training of just the whole expectation that you can just train machine learn models to do things is flawed, and we should just stop trying. Just don't use computer vision anymore. Like, just hire 1 million people. Like, that's the right solution.
Yeah, that sounds feasible.
It's totally feasible. I don't know what you're talking about. It's perfectly fine. There are only 88 years of content uploaded to YouTube per day. So, you know...
So, you know.
It's fine. I think I did the math.
So, you know something.
I think I did the math at one point, and it was like to watch all of the content. Like, let's also be clear: when a human reviewer reviews like flagged content on YouTube, they're not watching every second of that video. Like they're not. They're skimming it and they're watching the content around the time it's reported, but they're not watching the whole thing. So, you know, this imagination that you'd have to watch every minute of the video is like, you know, that's not how it's done when you hire people to do it now. Why would you expect it to be anywhere else? But yeah, so I think that Tumblr's problem is easier because most of their content isn't video. And I do think the image classification is easier than not. The other thing about it, though, is that a huge problem with YouTube was always the fact that it was largely dependent on the text associated with the metadata associated with the post. And nobody writes fucking descriptions on YouTube. And so, like, they probably trained it on something that had, like, written descriptions or whatever, I don't know. But because nobody, like, a huge amount of the trouble that they got in was just from videos that didn't have descriptions or titles that were meaningful. And some of it was just because people were testing the fucking algorithm. They were like, oh, look, I'm going to make up a title that has like the word untitled in it and upload a video because I know that YouTube's classification is based on the video content. And it's like, no, it's fucking not. Like, that's not how it fucking works. Like, it doesn't know anything about the content that it's dealing with. Like, it's just guessing based on your title and description 90% of the time.
That was a problematic drive.
It really was. Rolled right into that bunker. Well, so James Baker, I mean, like, that's the generalized AI problem, right? So there's actually a new Tom Scott video this week, which was awesome. Oh, yours is in a bunker, too.
Yeah, we both found the bunkers.
So the new Tom Scott video this week is the artificial intelligence that deleted a century. And basically, it is written... It's a story written about, like, the year 2028, written as if Content ID evolved into general AI. And so the Content ID system is given a list of all, you know, copyright references from the EU's master list that they're going to have to make because of Article 13 coming about, and told, like, with minimal disruption, make sure that these are not accessible to people on our service. Watch now, I think is what he called it, or something like that. And it built an AI and got to the point where it was like, oh, like, it watched all of the content, and of course it's like, because it can watch content, and YouTube has a lot of content, so it watched all of the content, and it figured out that the best way to do this was to, like, convince humans that this missing content didn't matter. So it, like, got into, like, a factory system that manufactures nanobots and sent out nanobots into the world that made people forget that these works ever existed or care less that they existed. So that people, like, yeah, Harry Potter is gone and you can't find it on any service online, but people don't mind so much anymore because it was told to be minimally disruptive. And that's the type of thing that the generalized AI problem gets involved in. Uh, so you very quickly run into the gray goo problem, and so the video finishes up, and it's like, we could have set generalized AI to work to solve the problems. Oh, and then because it knows that humans would be upset if they really understood what was going on, it also changes the brain chemistry of anyone who would research AI. So there will basically never be another AI. It will just be this one. So we could have used AI to solve world hunger or poverty or any of these other things. But instead, because the first AI we built was the one that got rid of copyrighted content, this is the one problem we get to solve. I'm glad that we failed in a very similar way there. It makes me feel a little bit better.
I don't feel any better.
That's fine. I wouldn't expect you to, because you think you're better than me.
I do think I'm better than you,
which
not just as a golfer, but as a human being and in a lot of vectors.
I mean,
not a great time.
YouTube still always had advertisers who are willing to advertise on anything. It just drastically drops your advertising revenue. There's a reason that no one on Twitch talks about advertising revenue as a significant source of their income, and it's because their ads pay shit. The rates that they get on their advertisements are absolute trash compared to YouTube. And so the not advertising friendly stuff almost always triggered videos to be marked as not advertiser friendly, but still allow partial ads. But the partial ads that you get on YouTube are actually very similar to the all of the ads that you get on Twitch, and they pay 1/10 the rate. And now Twitch is extremely aggressive about showing ads. They show 30-second unskippables every time you load a stream with no rate limiting. So in that way, they make up in part for the terrible performance individually of the ads with just having a shit ton of fucking ads. But subs are what supports Twitch creators. And Twitch has always been better at that piece of it than YouTube has. I don't know how close it's getting with memberships for people who have memberships on the YouTube main app at this point, but it's certainly having it only on gaming, which a small chunk of people used, was not enough to have it be competitive around sub revenue. Even with the higher cut that you get on YouTube than you did on Twitch, which I still don't understand why YouTube was never willing to talk about that. It seems such a weird choice that you've got a 70% revenue share rather than a 50% revenue share by default, and you're not going to talk about that in public. That seems such a weird choice.
That does seem like a strange choice.
And I'm sure it's probably because they didn't want to commit to it. If YouTube decided to change the rules the next week or something like that, they didn't want to get caught out. But
YouTube's pretty much a bastion of stability. They don't make a lot of changes.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay. I never know. I don't know how people see
Wow, that
things.
ended up terribly. Jeez.
Even worse than mine.
Uh-huh. This hill is pretty real, it turns out.
Yep.
I don't think I hit that hard. I guess I hit it hard. I hit it too hard. Great.
Just for you, Brad, I muted while I shoot a starburst. So.
That was really nice of you. I appreciate that.
I was trying to chew quietly, and I was like, this is not going to work. So mute and shoot quick. All right, 13 feet. A ton of break. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, even more. Oh, yes.
Ooh, nice.
Woo.
It's like you've stolen the honors.
No, don't. I need you to. Oh, okay. All right. Boston DSA has its discussion platform for discussing the upcoming priority vote set up, and so now I need to post a whole bunch of Priorities. Yeah. But yeah, so Boston DSA is moving to supporting online voting, which it has not done previously. And so I signed up to be one of the implementers of that, hoping to discuss more of the like how to moderate or how can we create effective communications or other things like that, because I've been doing online community stuff for 15 years at this point. Like that's an area where I have a bunch of like underserved or underutilized skills. I feel like, God damn it, rolled right into the light rough. So I clubbed down. No, I went with the 3-wood, which I shouldn't have done. I would say don't go with the 3-wood or do something different than I did. Unfortunately, I got roped into primarily being like a tech researcher because I didn't realize that when we set this up, this online voting thing, that has to have we had to have like a discussion platform and a voting platform, but we had to implement it within 3 months of the bylaw passing, and it's basically like 3 months of volunteer time of the like 5 to 10 people who care does not give you time to build anything worth having, right? Like that's like, you know, maybe you get 10 hours a month out of the typical volunteer if you're really lucky. And so, you know, and only half of them were technical. So basically like you have 2 work weeks of someone's time to do something. That is not enough to build a nice solution from scratch that is like capable. So everything was about researching existing options. And then like I picked one of the existing options because of what it said it did on the tin, and then we actually tried to use it and I found it didn't do things that it seemed like from reading the description it should, and then you reread the description and realize, oh, it doesn't actually say it's going to do this. And so basically for this particular election vote, we are going to be paying a bunch of money to OpaVote to manage this vote for us, which is good. Like OpaVote is great. If you need to have people vote on something, I think OpaVote is awesome. The problem is that they charge you like $1 per 10 people. And the DSA is an organization that has no income. And so
you'd be flush with money there.
Yeah, so it's like a $27 a year membership fee, of which the local org gets like, I don't know, 20% or something like that. So yeah, $5 a year does not get you enough to do that. So yeah.
Fuck me.
Oh, cool. Our emails no longer go to spam. Oh, maybe just for me they don't go to spam, but that's fine. Okay. I got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Here they all are standing in a row. Oh! I should not have aimed to the right. I should just aim straight. It would have been fine.
That's correct, because you shot it over all the break.
It's like, that was dumb. Like I said, I'm getting a little bit drunkified. All right, there we go.
Let you salvage the bogey.
Salvage the bogey.
Surrendering the honors back to its rightful owner.
So I get to play Overwatch with Lalo now. He is sufficiently dropped in skill level that we can play together. Which is or skill rating. Sorry, not skill level. Skill rating that we can play together. Which is great. We won 3 out of the 4 games we played last night together. So.
That's a pretty small sample size.
Oh, I agree, but...
And I feel like there's probably 4 other members of your team that could fuck it all up, even if you are good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what happened with the one. Actually, no, that's not true. The one we were playing against a team that was really hard. Like, it was a competitive match, and we did well, and they just beat us. The other ones, we kicked... But, like, Lalo being tank and me being a support... Like, having a solid tank and support duo is huge. And so... we were able to make up for a lot of mistakes of other folks by kind of playing well together. And I've watched enough Lalo like playing Reinhardt to have some idea of when he's about to do something really stupid, so I can try and cover for him.
Where were you aiming?
I wanted to go more right than I did. I think I hit it badly, right? Hello, Matus. Chris plays golf. See, that's perfect.
An easy one tonight. Basically a night off for him and trying to make that work.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to use the hybrid, but I am going to use the 5-iron shooting out of this
Oh,
sand
but
pit.
if you use the hybrid, John McCarthy will sound very impressed.
I mean, he would on your end, but he doesn't. I don't hear him because he is muted on my end.
Oh, it's like he's going with the hybrid.
Yeah, I didn't because it like the hybrid was 38% to 60% chance, and the other thing was 60 to 70%. It was a wrong mistake. It was a bad idea.
Trying to hit the hybrid out of the sand is not easy.
Okay, so I am successfully joined to the Boston DSA group, which is awesome.
This shot.
Oh no. Oh no.
Stop.
I don't think the software is going to work as well as I wanted. God damn it. I picked out this software because no one else was picking anything. And in hindsight, I wish I had just said nothing. I wish that I had just...
now you're going to look like a fool.
I wish that I had said nothing because everything is fucking terrible. Anyway,
Sounds like you're going to have to spend the next week writing a bunch of custom code instead.
no, we can't, like, our setup, we're, like, set up in a Docker instance, and none of us know how to modify the code that runs in the Docker instance without it getting overwritten every time we, like, run a command on the server, so, it is definitely going to be, oh, fucking hell! It's definitely going to be exactly what we have for the, oh my god! What the hell?
You've had 3/4 of one beer. You cannot blame 3/4 of one beer for this debacle.
You're right. But it's like a big beer. It's a big beer. It's got like 21 ounces of beer in it. I don't know how beerified it is. Anyway, I just can't, like, this fucking shipping, man. There, that time I hit it 4 yards onto the green.
Man, you still didn't hit it very far.
No, I really didn't.
Not that big game.
Hello. You should change the... Oh, God. Okay. I don't know. I have to rethink. So one of the things that we have been planning on was that we would have a parent group, which is Boston DSA, and then we would have subgroups for each of the 2 things that we're voting on, because this is primarily a platform to discuss the things we're going to vote on for the membership to pick between. And when you add a subgroup, you are given the option to invite members of the existing group. But here's the problem. While we have technically added everyone as group members on the back end, because we did an import of like our membership, right? So we imported our membership and we added them all as group members. However, until you sign in the first time, I'm not convinced that it actually does the bits where it makes you a member of the group. So when I create the subgroup, is it going to invite the list of like 1,000 plus like members who are like in the system assigned to a group, or only the 12 people who have ever logged into the system? And I have no idea of the answer to that until I try, I guess, which is just...
Based on the enrollment systems I've used, I have a feeling it is not going to enroll them in your group until they sign in for the first time.
Yeah.
Or anything like the other ones I've seen, that's probably how it's going to be.
So here's the thing. When I signed in the first time, I am in, like, I see the group and I see myself as a member of it. But when I look at the list of group members, which is visible on the right-hand side of the page, I see 5 people, not all of them. And so, like, I don't know which of those is a more accurate rendition of what's going on. And, yeah. And again, like, so Lumio is this piece of software, and I think their title is, like, to make decisions better or something like that. What is their tagline? Make decisions without meetings. And I'm like, that seems like a good thing. That's what we want. Make decisions without meetings. Like, that's a good, right? But it turns out that their ability to make decisions appears to be tied in many ways to the way that you make decisions that is not the way the DSA makes decisions, which is unsurprising because, of course, we're fucking socialists and we can't make a goddamn decision to save our lives. So, yeah. A Zweihander, name is Schmidt. So Van Helsing is now collecting swords. He's going to collect a two-handed sword and call it Schmidt. That's great.
Ah! Hi, Yugi.
Oh, fuck, man. So close.
I wanted that one.
Anyway, hello, Yugi. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, it's live. I'm just busy ranting. Oh, right. I was going to, like, make it easier for me to breathe, and I forgot.
You gonna put on one of those nasal strips?
No, I was going to, like, take a puff of this inhaler that was in my hand as I was talking earlier.
That's probably why you botched all those chips, is because you were short of breath.
It is most likely, especially given how much I have to walk because we're golfing. I think that's the most likely explanation. Yes! Got that one.
Wow, you're gonna make this? I didn't think you were going to.
I didn't either.
And I'm not convinced I'm gonna make this. This putt's hard and bad. And I didn't. Seriously. Fuck. I would like to birdie there.
Yeah, I can understand that. Did I get a birdie? I did.
No,
I didn't. I didn't. I was looking up at the top 9. The front 9, I guess they call it in golf terms.
Let's change it to top 9. There's no reason why that's not equally valid.
It is. There is a reason. I'm not sure what it is, but I feel like there must be a reason. Because the importance of where the 9 are is in the walking, not in the scorecard. That's why.
But that's why in and back make way more sense than front and back.
In and back. No.
Or sorry, out and back.
Out and back. Yeah, calling it the out and
back
back.
or in and out.
But, like, the problem that I have with that is that they're not always... Is that how they usually... I guess that is how they usually work.
That's how they relate to the clubhouse, generally.
Yeah, because you kind of, like, go out and you want to end up at the clubhouse after...
Yes.
So if you just golf 9, you're, like, super far from the clubhouse and you have to walk all the way back?
Depends on the course. I mean, a lot of them are designed so that the end is relatively close to the clubhouse. Some of them are designed so both the 9th and the 18th end pretty close to the clubhouse.
Got it. Like, if
but
you're...
also, on any nicer course, you're not going to encounter many people playing 9 holes.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I'm gonna pay for us to run our election this cycle. In particular, we've had people vote using the same software before, but we've made them each get a ballot, like, in person. And so it has been cheaper because the number of people who show up to meetings and ask for ballots is lower. And I want to figure out, like, how many people will actually vote if you make it so they can just vote via email. We have never tested this. We have no idea. And so, like, even if all we do in this cycle is learn that the number of people who will vote if you send them an email link is the same or less than the number of people who will vote if you tell them in person, like, hey, go over to this corner and vote, it will still be interesting information to have about the process. And so...
Well, I mean, I have no clue of how many completely disengaged members you have, but probably quite a few.
Yeah, well, so I think that we have a large number of people who are not sufficiently... I mean, like, our meetings are, like, Saturday afternoons, but, like, a lot of people work. I mean, there's still, like, working class people who are members of the DSA, amazingly enough. It's not just upper class liberal snobs. And so, like, there's people who can't make it to those votes, and in fact, several of them, like, took time off and came and gave impassioned speeches about how, like, they were only able to make it because they explicitly had to reschedule their time off or whatever. And so that's the kind of thing that I really want to make sure that we hit those people so we can see, like, those numbers. And so in total, there's, like, 2,000-ish members of the DSA, and, like, 150 to 200 of them make it to in-person meetings.
Sure.
And so, like, I want to know, does the other 90%, will they click an email and vote or not? Like, that's the real question. And to me, that's worth me paying $100 out of pocket to learn the answer. I think it is useful information for the organization to have in order to make decisions about what we do next. And as a member of the online voting implementation group, that will be an interesting thing to help inform the rest of the decisions we have to make. So
that's not gonna roll.
But yeah, I was in the meeting that we had today, and I said, they said, Kit was like, okay, so we've got to make people ask for ballots, and then we'll just add those people and like set them up with that. And I said, no, like she's like, but it'll cost like $150. And I said, yeah, I know, I'll pay the $150 dollars. Like, she's the treasurer, she knows that the org has no money. Like, her job is to say we have no money. So I get that. But on the other hand, I was like, no, shut up, Kit. Like, I'm paying for this election. Like, it's fine. I'm not paying to buy it.
Buy out the DSA with your Google millions.
Just to be clear, I specifically, I was asked by other members of the DSA, 3 of them, to come and vote in favor of online elections, and I explicitly did not vote in that election because I felt like I'd been a member for like 6 months, but I felt like showing up and to a GM in person for the first time and making the first vote that I did, making it easier for me to sit at home and control the outcome of the DSA, felt like the wrong thing to be encouraging. And so I was unwilling to participate in that vote. But I was, willing to help implement it once the organization as a whole decided it was the way they wanted to go, which they did by a factor of like 70-30. So like, it was not even close. My vote would not have mattered. Nice shot.
Thanks.
That was a brilliant putt.
Give my back.
I should rig it to such that I win. The reality is that I'm actually not worried about rigging this election. I am actually running in this election, not as an individual, but I have a priority proposal that is up for vote as one of our external priorities. But I'm not worried about winning because I think that I don't actually... So what we're voting on is the top 2 internal and external priorities for the organization for the year. And I think that the proposal that I have is important, but doesn't actually require the full set of DSA resources in order to be effective. So long as it's on the ballot, I feel like it's going to develop enough mindshare that I can then go and talk about it with other people, which is really the important part. So even just being on the ballot is the important part of this election for me, and I've already achieved that. So that's not a problem. So I don't feel like I have to win. I will say one of the problems with the voting system we're working on. So like Lumio implements ranked choice voting, but they don't implement randomization of option ordering by default. And so like the default ordering of your ranked choice vote is whatever order you type them in the UI. And in the spreadsheet of proposals, mine happens to be first. And so had we gone with Lumio rather than paying for the $150 for this election for the voting software, my option was going to be first on most people's ballots. So even if you dragged other ones above it, mine would still probably be near the top, and I probably would have scored quite well. But that was actually one of the things that I noticed was like we were testing this and I was like, wait a second, it's always presenting these options in the same order by default. Like that's not a way to make a reasonable ranked choice voting implementation.
No, it's certainly not.
OvaVote is so good. It's done by people who care a lot about voting and nothing else. And it's really good. So straw poll is not the right type of solution for this. The things that matter here are, one, each person can vote only once. Wow, your shot. Oh, you were closer than me. I was like, your shot worked out a lot better than mine did. So straw poll doesn't have each person can vote only once. It does not have ranked choice voting, so you can't rank your options and then have it tell you which one is the most liked. Like, the ranked choice voting is important. it does not have uh, uh, shit. And one person, one vote is the most important thing. We need and it doesn't have the ability to limit who votes. So in the DSA, we need only members of the DSA to be able to vote, and that's not something that you can do with straw poll, because you have to send the link around, and like then I can send the link to, you know, my 17 other friends who are not members of the organization and go have them all vote as well. So OpaVote is the only thing that I found that comes anywhere close to implementing decent ranked choice voting for organizations like ours. So, still there, Brad? I feel like you've been taken over by your cat or something.
That's my cat's scratching on a scratch pad. He's feeling.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this OpaVote. I guess they used OpaVote for the ranked choice options for the previous election as well, and people thought the experience worked out really well. They only did it in person, so you had to come and like get a code and then like walk it over to computers they had set up there and so on and so forth. And we'll probably try and set up computers at the event for people who don't have internet access at home or don't have, you know, the ability to vote at home so that they can vote in person. But we won't do most of, well, the expectation is not most of our voting will do that. Oh, I'm sorry you missed that.
Oh, it was fucking impossible.
Yeah. I did talk to my doctor about the fact that like a number of beers make me like I basically have an allergic reaction to beer, and I don't know why. And he was like, you know, we could do a skin prick test, but we could test a million things and not figure out what caused it. So he and I agreed that I would try and email beer manufacturers when I have more severe inability to breathe than usual and say like, hey, any chance you could give me a list of like the spices you include in your beer so I can figure out which one I'm allergic to?
You're gonna get very low compliance.
I think that I am unlikely to. I mean, I drink a lot of crafty stuff, so I can actually imagine some of them being like, yeah, we can try and help you out.
Don't hit that one full strength is my advice.
That's kind of weird. I guess a 7-mile-per-hour wind is pushing it more than I'd expect.
I mean, I had slightly more wind than you do, but it still would have gone too far no matter what.
So in order to vote Van Helsing at this point, because the bylaws explicitly have a provision to prevent people from joining the DSA in order to sandbag the election online, you would have to move to Boston, register with the DSA, and then show up at the election on Saturday and vote in person. If you have been a member of the DSA for less than 30 days, you are not nice putt.
It was pretty straight.
I mean, still, it doesn't matter. Like, even getting the distance right at that distance is hard. I couldn't even make a 7-foot putt, and that was totally straight.
True, but you hit it a little hard.
I guess. Seems that way. I mean, I saw it curve around the hole, so seems that way. But yeah. I really wouldn't recommend living in my basement. It's cold down there. I guess it's not that cold.
Yeah, but this is the best time ever to live in your basement.
Nope.
There's so much less garbage.
Nope. The best time to live in my basement was when we first moved in.
That's ancient history now, though.
It's true. You didn't know me then. The best time since I have started live streaming is maybe now. Certainly the amount of garbage has built up since then, but I think it is probably more organized. So the other thing is that a lot of the reason that my basement is disorganized is because I kept having to have people come into the basement to work on things, and when they come in, I like throw everything that is in their way into a giant pile that is out of their way, and doing that is problematic for having it become organized again, because I don't ever have a motivation to go down there and unpilify it. So there were probably times that it transitioned significantly in how messy it was. I think one of the worst was definitely the gas main guy, where I thought I had identified where the gas main came in and then found out that I had in fact piled up everything that I had been moving out of the way in front of where the gas main was, and then had to unpile my pile into a different spot. So I piled the entire basement twice. Or not entire basement, but a big chunk of the basement twice. And that was probably the worst transition point of the basement's life as a messy place. I mean, it gets cold in some parts of Texas, like West Texas.
Snows in some parts of Texas.
Like West Texas is definitely like gets to like Northwest Texas gets to pretty freaking cold, is my understanding. Excuse me.
Maybe you will. Of course not. Plays me more downhill putts for me.
I had a lot of break. I'm going to aim.
Yeah, you do.
40 degrees to the right. That was too much aiming.
Yeah.
I should have aimed fewer degrees to the right.
Agreed. And you could have hit it less hard too. That wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah, I mean, if I hit it at the hole, it probably would have gone in, but...
That's like 2 inches down. That's not that bad. I didn't make it.
Sure,
nice.
but like even being at 50 degrees, if it's at 50 if it was 50 degrees for a week straight, like that's when I have to turn on the heat. Like the house doesn't stay warm enough at that point for me. And even when it's 50 in the day and like 50 at night and 60 in the day, like yeah. No, or chaos, that definitely happens. Like there are parts of Texas that are effectively high desert. I mean, Texas is a huge state, right? So like Texas is gigantic. But there are parts of Texas that are high desert, and so you like have a huge microclimate differentiation that kind of runs along, I think, around the west side of the state. That causes that. Yeah, Montana has a similar problem. Like Montana, eastern Montana is very much a plains state. Did that go? All right.
It's a place you can hit it. I'm gonna admit I didn't think about it too hard, but it seemed like the way to live.
And then western Montana is the Rockies, and so you have a huge climate differentiation between the two of them. That is causes a lot of variation there. So. You are my friend. God damn it. It's stuck in my head. I watched too much of Lalo playing Overwatch now.
Mm-hmm. I've actually found that the recent increase in memification of Lalo's stream is quite off-putting to me as a grown-ass man.
I mean, that the problem is that Lalo streams are not intended to appeal to grown-ass men.
But I haven't noticed any growth in viewer numbers, so I don't feel like it's appealing to anyone. So please make it stop.
I mean, I can't make it stop. Lalo, I tell Lalo not to buy cryptocurrency. He still does that. So
That's because crypto's poised for a huge comeback.
I love. He came into. I don't know where he came recently. He was like, "Crypto's all dead," and I'm like, "Lalo, you told me a year ago that Bitcoin should not be above 3,000, and then you made a bet that it would hit 4,000 within 2 weeks. Now you were off by 8.5 months on that 2-week estimate, but you weren't wrong in the $3,000, and it's coming pretty close to that because that's what it was worth." Like the amount of actual electricity going into the creation of Bitcoin, you know, air quotes, scary air quotes around that, is 100% consistent with like $3,600 of value. Like at that point, you're getting close to how much money people are putting in to get out the product, quote unquote, that you have. Why am I 57 feet away from the hole on the green? I was like, this chipping is weird, and then I was like, well, that's not chipping.
But I've heard you're not afraid to chip on a green.
Okay,
No
hold on. 57 feet divided by 3, 19. That's a lob. That's
right at the short end of lob country. Hi, Natalie.
Let's do some flopping. I don't think I can flop. Alright, toss it up here. We're flopping, baby. Flopping from the green. That was nowhere nearby. Oh! It went in!
Oh, what a green flop!
Woo! Yeah, the trading of cryptocurrency's overall value has died, and when Bitcoin values drops, the trading in all currencies drops drastically because no one's willing to sell because they all invested it, you know, $4,700, and if they sell now, they'll lose money. So yeah, it's a thing. Okay, so I got +7, you got -8. I feel like you did better.
You had 4 extra strokes.
I
based
did,
on a misunderstanding of what golf shots are.
I mean, it's true, but you're only giving me that credit because I didn't come anywhere close to even tying you anyway.
Also true.
Yeah, so Natalie, you can only buy Bitcoin if someone's willing to sell. And since everyone who owns Bitcoin bought it at some point, but like Bitcoin has not been this low for 18 months when the total volume of owned Bitcoin was half what it is today, you have to find someone who has not invested in the past year, alternatively is willing to give up somewhere between, like, you know, 5 and 78% of their invested money in order to sell to you. So I'm not saying there are no people like that, because there are, but the number of people who are like that is lower. I mean, it is a good time. I actually think that if there has ever been a good time to buy Bitcoin,
it was years ago.
Don't
buy Bitcoin.
It was when I bought Bitcoin. I bought it for $150 per Bitcoin, and I bought 10 of them, and I sold them 2 years later, and I bought a laptop. It was a great plan. It worked out perfectly for me, and you should do that. Are we going to play another round? I don't know how...
That is up to you. You might be burnt out, in which case feel free to switch to Overwatch or something, but I'd be happy to play another as well.
If you will play... Yeah, hold on. I'm thinking. We've been playing for 2.5 hours, and we finished 2. I'm gonna play a little bit slower because I'm getting a little bit drunker. So an hour and 15 minutes. That should be fine. We'll play another round. All right. I'm picking a course.
Sounds good.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. Marble Forest. Should we play in the Marble Forest?
Yes, we absolutely should.
All right. Play in the Marble Forest.
Sounds like there'll be ample opportunities to challenge the trees.
This one only has red tees, and 1 pin, so.
All right, I guess that'll make things easy. We won't get desynced.
Yeah, but so the problem is that usually if they have fewer tees, I don't trust that they're as well thought out of courses. So this probably means
I tend to agree with you, but I'm willing to take that risk.
You should have an invitation, hopefully.
I do.
Excellent. I'm going to remove Retro Veggie the Ghost, because I don't need that kind of toxicity in my life. Yeah. Oh, my desk is moving. I'm moving from the best desk in Cambridge to no longer the best desk in Cambridge, which makes me sad. They were trying to move me to a desk that had less legroom than an airplane seat. Yeah, it's really fucking terrible. Like, so So Google Offices, this Google Office has been around for a while, and so I think in this particular space, what happened is that they built a set of desks that backed up to a set of conference rooms, without realizing that you want to have some kind of physical separation between an entrance to a conference room, because people go in before a meeting and they talk before the door closes because they know more people are coming. And so like if you sit right outside the conference room, all you hear all day in and out is people like sitting there talking while waiting for their meeting compatriots to come in, right? So on the plus side, Google is actually relatively responsive to these changes, and so they actually put up a wall that separates like the desk area from the conference room area, which is great. Like, I'm really happy that they did that. The problem is that when they put up this wall, one of the desks, like sitting area, just like directly intersects the wall. And so like I assume at the time that they built it, that no one was sitting there, because it's the only thing that, oh god damn it. It's the only thing. The only thing that makes any sense is that like no one was there to object at the time they put up this wall, which would make sense, of course, because construction. If you're doing construction, then people aren't sitting there at the time, right? Like, so that must have been the case. But as a result, now that desk is there, and it's really, really terrible. Like it's I'll have to take a picture. It's terrible. So I did talk to the person who was helping coordinate the movement, because my manager, of course, is in Mountain View and has no particular experience like with what's going on or the physical space or whatever. But I have a local like team lead who I work with for physical space issues, who's under the same director. Nice. And he helped me kind of escalate this. And it turns out that he had actually gotten assigned this exact same shitty desk 3 years earlier, and gotten himself changed from it as well, because it's like, it's not a desk. It shouldn't be a desk. And Leif is right. If I had had a time machine, the right solution, well, first of all, like the right solution would be never store your Bitcoins on an exchange. Put them in a cold wallet and keep them somewhere else. Thankfully, I was not affected by that. I think I probably lost like a tenth of a Bitcoin in the Mt. Gox like bullshit, because trying to find people to buy an exact number of Bitcoins was hard at the time. But I was not affected by that. But yes, buy the same 10 Bitcoins that I bought back then, or even 100, because I could afford $100 back then. And put them in a cold wallet and keep them until like mid-December 2017. At which point, make sure you have an existing account on some exchange that actually works, and then sell them when the price hits 18,000. 19,000 was too high, because by the time you got to 19,000, the market was too goddamn crazy and no one could sell anything. But yes, sell at 18,000 and make out like a bandit. So that would have been, 18,000 times $100. Is like 1.8 million. That would have been a nice chunk of change. But yes, the fact that, oh, come on, seriously? Like, did you see that? I can't hear you on the Skype spread. Oh, you disconnected. Right. We both had the honors. That's why you were able to swing. Okay. Brad will probably be back shortly. And so yeah, I was not that smart. But I'm fine. You know, like I said, I bought in for $1, I sold out for 130. It's a 90 or whatever, 95. I think I bought in for $1.50. I sold out for 130. It's like an 85 to 1 return. I will never make an 8,500% return on anything else in my life. So it's fine. I'm pretty happy with that. You can't be upset that you missed the peak, because you'll always miss the peak. No matter what you do, you will always miss the peak. So you don't want to be worried about that. Can't let yourself stress. So we'll give this about 3 minutes and see if Brad is able to make it back before I hit him up on Twitter or something. You are my friend. Oh, God, did it again. So I guess, oh, Brad's gone. I'm sorry, Brad, I loved you. He's only vaguely connected to the internet, he says. Alright, I'm gonna keep playing for a little bit here, and we'll actually unmute the golf club so we can hear some nice ambient sounds.
Keep you at 1 under for the
hey,
round.
it's John Masterson, or whatever his name is.
Par
John
4
McCarthy.
Here. Let's have a nice, clean drive.
Let's have a nice, clean drive. Sounded good.
This one's looking good.
I would recommend that you move closer to the Wi-Fi access point. Hey, it's Brad. Hello. Hello, hello.
Hi, Chris.
You back?
Yeah, I had to connect to a different server that time.
Oh, game is still small. Now the game is not small. I golfed a couple of hits.
It looks like I'm gonna be laboring under the handicap system again.
You
God damn
are,
it.
which is
It's gonna
probably
make me feel bad about myself.
at least at this point though it's more appropriate. Like the handicaps are still wrong. Like mine should be higher than it is and yours should be more neutral than it is, but with the drinking that I've got going on, I do feel like it's a more accurate representation of our relative levels of skill at the moment.
Well, I mean, I just hit the fuck out of that putt.
I will probably see it.
Here. I think this can go.
Nope, I will not. Oh! John McCarthy believed in me, Brad, and I still failed. All right, now I get to see your hole 3 drive. By the way, thanks, Stingray. Yeah. So what did I do? Oh yeah. So I'm moving. So at the moment I had this great fucking desk. It's great. Let me see if I have my picture on the interwebs that I can share in some way. If I go in to click the thing, if I click the thing and then I do the thing, I think that it does the thing, right? And so I do this, so these are pictures out the window next to my desk now. So I have this awesome view out onto this like green space or whatever that is great. And this is like the big Federal Transportation Building over here. You can't really get a good view because it's like this whole area that I have, and I'm like in a corner with windows on all sides. And unfortunately, I'm moving to a different space where I did get myself out of the airplane seat depth desk, which is nice. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't make that. But unfortunately, I will have to be in the 5th floor where the windows open up onto a dark alleyway between two 12-story buildings looking over the dumpsters. So
Nice.
yeah, it's not as terrible as I'm making it out to be, but it's definitely, I'm giving up a great view at work for a much less great view. So I'm disappointed.
Probably because I mean you have no local coworkers. I think they're probably just, they don't really care about you anymore.
No, I mean, so in this case, it's the team, everything's about, it's like bin packing, right? So like they're trying to pack teams. So I am technically part of a group of 5. So there's 4 who are on the Making and Science team who make Science Journal and run our funding program for student robotics programs and help support the Makerspace program. The Makerspaces that Google helps run in 18 different countries. So there's 4 of those people, and then there's 1 of me, but we're all under the same director. So the Open Source Projects Office owns the Making and Science team, and so we all kind of move together. Although they did forget about me, and I had to fix that. But that's a different story. It's just that, like, taking a 1,500-person office with a number of different like floors of spaces that are of varying sizes, and packing everyone into it in a way that gives everyone the best desk space is like impossible, you know. So yeah, I mean, I do back up to windows, and it's just that like I back up to windows that are between two relatively tall buildings, so it's not a ton of natural light. I did find out, I had asked a bunch of times like, why can't we just have cubicle walls? And I'm pretty sure that I figured out the answer. The answer is LEED certification. So in order to get gold LEED certification, you have to meet certain requirements for natural light, which means that you are not allowed to have any like visual obstruction above 36 inches in height, which of course rules out like full height cube walls. Oh, okay. Well, that's not great, but it's...
I'm surprised you went for it.
I did go for it. I just went for it. Didn't make it quite onto the green, but I made it between the bunkers, and I'm happy with that. So yeah, so the new space is, I mean, it's also, on the other hand, it's right across from the Cheers themed micro kitchen, which is one of my favorite themed micro kitchens in the office. And also has, I think, better snacks than most of the other ones, frankly. I'm also going to be right next to the TARDIS, which is a storage closet. And I'm actually much closer to the lunchroom, although the lunchroom is going to close soon and move up to the 13th floor, which is going to be a nightmare in the long run because, like, at the moment, the lunchroom is kind of centrally located in the office. It's on the 4th floor, and it's near 2 of the 3 buildings in our campus. And even the 3rd one, it's pretty close to the connector between them. And then soon, that lunchroom is going to move to the 13th floor in the next building over, which means that everyone in the entire campus who wants to go to that cafeteria, which routinely sits 400 to 800 people a day, is going to have to take one of the elevators to get there. And so that's going to be shitty. Well, we both got birdies, but...
That's correct.
Is your birdie a birdie? Do you see you or do you see me?
I see me.
Cool. You didn't have a handicap on that hole is what I was really asking.
Well, I don't believe this course has assigned handicaps based on what I'm seeing.
That's right, because it's still a new shitty course. Okay, that makes sense.
What?
Oh,
God damn it!
That sucks.
Well, I mean, I clubbed down. I don't know what else I could have done.
I mean, club down again.
I guess.
Really? You clubbed down? Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. Like, I would definitely have thought clubbing down would be enough.
I thought so too, but it really rolled.
Yeah, it's a long downhill, I guess. It's all the roll. Okay. Yeah, so I clubbed down twice, and I definitely am within 20 yards of where you are. All right. I got no woman and I got no car. I got no money, so here you are. You say Nito, check your libido, roll to the church in a new tuxedo. Some of those lyrics are probably right.
I guess that's the thing you did.
I did have someone who, with a European accent, and I know that's not an accent, but I stand by that statement. Asked me if I do karaoke, and I said no because I'm pretty sure when he says karaoke, he means something that's like a specific social activity rather than the idea of I sing songs that I know the lyrics to on my live stream for 12 people to watch. But I went with no because I didn't feel like explaining that bit.
Seems correct.
Yeah. But yes.
No,
I will say the 12th floor lunchroom that we currently have, which is called HTTP, and is going to be deprecated soon, is the best view that we have currently. That won't last for long because they're building a 22-story building across the street. But at the moment, we have this great view of like a large chunk of the Boston skyline that I really love. And I'm a little bit sad that we'll lose that when the building gets across the street gets finished being built. But That's Kendall for you. It's constantly under construction. Oh, okay. I think that's pretty good.
Turned out great. Had some risk, but it turned out great.
Yeah. Well, now I know how to chip, which is helpful. Don't try and aim your chip distance at your carry distance if that's how far you are to the pin. Nice putt.
That's correct.
That's an important lesson to learn in the chipping game. So, all right. So
this course, it's very flat.
It's true.
Well, I think that's a good choice for you, a beater in, and having played a couple rounds, sometimes where frustration sets in.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, yeah. So I did look at, like, I got the notification that there's going to be a move, and I sent an email to my manager saying, so where am I? Because they only had, like, the team. They didn't have individual people listed yet. They just had, like, teams. And I was like, so which team did you move me with? Because it looks like you've only assigned 4 seats to the team that I am part of in this office. And they were like, oh, we moved you with... Because I sit, like, because of where I sit, I'm a little bit, like, around the corner from the people that I'm part of a grouping, because cube groups were 4s. And I'm a 5th. And so I was, like, around the corner, and I was like, oh, I'll just pick the spot that's got the best view. And so I've got that. And so they grouped me with the team that I sit next to rather than the team that I'm part of. So they moved that real quick, but then they moved me to the shitty desk, and then staff helped me get myself fixed up. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. At the moment...
Why the fuck did that go so far?
I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
At the moment, so because my team is all remote, I have like a constantly open video conference on my desk. I have a separate device that dials into our team video conference, and it'll be interesting to see. I use headphones to talk to people and everything else like that, but it'll be interesting to see how much bother I institute against my other folks sitting where I am.
That sounds like a lot of bother.
So usually we're pretty quiet. Like, it's not... It's one of those things where we can have the hallway... Like, I talk to other people over the GVC at about the same rate I talk to other people in the office, which is that, like, once or twice a day, I'll have, like, a 5 to 10 minute conversation that way.
All right, but you're staying always on just for that conversation.
Yeah, so part of it is that, like, there will be multiple conversations that I will listen into without participating in. So, like, it's a good way to keep in, like, we have, like, 4 or 5 different projects running at any given time. And one of the ways that I keep track of what's going on is by being able to, like, quickly listen in when I see other people talking about something. So
Eavesdropping, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, visible eavesdropping, like, you know. But yes. It's one of the aspects where doing remote shared work is interesting for that. Like, Google has bought us, like, has given us all dedicated hardware in order to do this. So this is like a, you know, like a $5,000 to $10,000 investment across our team, maybe less. It's like a $2,500 to $5,000 investment across our team, plus bandwidth and everything else like that to do full time. Oh God, too hard. Oh, got it in.
Jesus Christ, you're rocketing that thing.
Way too hard, but I saved it. See, if I could just keep the pin in the hole, that would have worked fine.
I don't know. That might be one of the cases where it wouldn't have worked fine. But I feel like it would be fairly easy to set up some physics simulations of putts against the pin being in. I think that'd be very interesting if someone should do that.
Yeah. It definitely does feel like the thing that will be gamed for the entire next year. And by a couple of years from now, there will be like, if you're within 27 yards and using the, you know, wedge with a more, or the putter with more than a 12-degree incline or whatever, that it'll be. Do this, do that. I guess people don't have multiple putters in Pro because...
No, you're only allowed to carry so many clubs in the bag. So
yeah, you don't want...
Like, one putter's pretty much it.
You don't want 2 putters when you can only have 12 clubs. Did you club down?
Nope, I didn't hit it quite as hard as I necessarily could have, but...
Got it.
I did not club down.
I feel like I want to club down. I'm happy with my result. Yours is
Well,
better.
only use putters. Yeah, I mean, if you're only going to use putters, I would say get a diverse array of putters in your bag.
What would it? What if you try and drive? Like if you try and drive with a putter.
I think there's a decent chance you'll break your clubs fairly often.
Really? Are they like more breakable?
I just feel like there'd be a lot of stress on it, but I don't know.
I mean, but
I've taken a full swing with a putter before and hit the ball just fine, but to me, I feel that putter's not built for that.
I mean, is the metal different? Like the handles?
Yeah. I mean, lots of things are different.
Like the head is different,
The shaft
but
is different.
is the shaft
head
different?
is different?
Okay. I didn't know. I mean, I guess they are. Like that's what. Well, no, wood is describing the head, right? It's not the
Yes.
shaft. Okay.
But shafts are different too. Golf's complex, and I did not do well with that one.
I would suggest that is not the approach that I want to take to hitting my ball.
Well, I hit the ball slightly to the right. Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna not do that. I'm gonna go the other way. I guess so in your shoes, I probably wouldn't have even looked over the hill to figure out what was on the other side. So I would have never known there was a giant sand pit in the way. But because I watched you, I'm going to hit it in a different giant sand pit. So
You did a small sand pit.
I mean,
Bounce out!
it didn't quite bounce out. Unfortunately.
We're making this hole extra long.
We're all, in fact, Stingray, we're talking about the changes in Tumblr's porn policies. Like, it's a thing. Don't worry about it. Also, Facebook's sexual, like, okay, the Tumblr thing, I understand. YouTube went through the same thing. It did the exact same kind of bullshit. Like, I am just, like, unsurprised by it. Disappointed, but unsurprised by it. Because, like, we live in a stupid fucking world. The Facebook sexual solicitation policy is so actively terrible, and I understand that it's almost certainly influenced like entirely by FOSTA SESTA regulation, CYA, but it's so bad. Like you can't say the word boob on Facebook anymore according to their policy. Like you can't message your wife and be like, I'd like to get laid tonight. Like that's crazy. It's crazy. Like, and I don't understand how I understand that like a huge chunk of what matters here is not just what the policy says, but how it's enforced. Like I know that better than most people as someone who has watched enforcement on YouTube, but what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you thinking writing this policy that can be so broadly interpreted in response to a law that doesn't feel like it? I mean, I know everyone's like sees different, like corporate lawyers are super risk averse, right? So like I get that they're super risk averse, but I cannot understand how you could let this policy go through and become public and not think that this was a nightmare that you were creating.
Well, it's Facebook.
The new
No, come on. That's exactly where I wanted to.
Sorry. So the new law was actually passed in April. It's the FOSTA SESTA Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act, or allows states to fight online sex trafficking act. And what it does is it allows websites to be treated as liable when they are used as communication platforms for pimps or for generally sex trafficking. And it has a lot of flaws. One of the biggest like aspects, oh come on, I got on the green and then I rolled back. And
According to mine, it is on the green. Nice job, Chris.
What's that? Oh, it stayed on the green?
It's on the green, yeah.
Oh yeah, it did not stay on the green.
It did. I saw it.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
That
First shipment of the day for me. You beat me to it.
I was gonna say, did that actually go in on your screen? Because it did on mine. Okay, good. But yeah, so the Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act is designed to stop people from like being trafficked, like to stop trafficking. It's a terrible law.
That's not what it's for. That's what it's titled.
I think that some of the people who are behind this law are actually like misinformed, well-intentioned people. Not all of them.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all.
Like, not all of them. Like, but some of them are just undereducated, like people who honestly think that like writing laws to prohibit sex trafficking writing laws that help make the communication of sex trafficking something that you can police will help police stop people from breaking those laws. They're wrong.
When you say it that way, it sounds ridiculous on its face.
I know, and I still believe that some of the people are in that bin. The problem is, and this is a big problem in like U.S. culture in general, is that the overall puritanical nature of U.S. culture means that almost anything that has negative effects in sexuality will be explicitly targeted and carried out in a way that harms sex workers, including legal sex work, right? Like porn is legal and is sex work, and is the type of thing that we be prevented by FOSTA SESTA because, like, oh, this could lead to trafficking, therefore we're going to make all communications about that illegal. And so, yeah. So I guess there is actually, on any... So the reality is that any communication platform will have people who are attempting to take advantage of it for whatever profit they can get out of it, right? Like, I am constantly surprised that people use YouTube to share porn, even though porn is very clearly against the terms of service and always has been, but they do, and they get away with it for a little while, and because the content is novel, they get a whole bunch of views, and then everyone complains that, like, we're all getting recommended this content that is porn, and why haven't you dealt with this already, because it's already been 12 minutes, and it's gotten 73 million views, or whatever, you know, like, I mean, I'm exaggerating slightly, but only slightly. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, sorry, I was reading a Verge article about this whole Facebook thing, and Facebook is basically saying, like, oh, don't worry, we're not going to enforce the policy. We're just writing the policy. Like,
we're going to have the policy to legally cover our asses. We're not going to enforce the thing. But that would be a statement that's perfectly in line with Facebook's past actions.
I mean, and like I said, like this is one of those cases where I know that enforcement makes a huge deal about what things actually look like, and if you're only acting on reported content, like that changes things. But the reality is that in any sufficiently large group, you also are going to have bad actors who are trying to report content in order to get people in trouble. In the same way as like this whole 3 weeks ago, there's a whole trend on Twitter of people having like you know, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like report what was it called? I had to report a hooker or whatever, and it was basically like,
I believe they used a more meme-y term.
Yeah, whatever. But the idea was that
I don't feel like using.
Okay, I don't know, whatever. You probably know it, and I don't remember it, but whatever. But it was basically the idea that sex workers, like cam workers and other things like that, were not reporting their earnings to the IRS. And so that they should report all of these people for like tax fraud to the IRS. Now, first of all, a lot of these people are like on campsite, like on Chatterbait, you have to submit your like 1099 documentation. Like you get a 1099 the same way as you do from YouTube. That information goes to the IRS. Like they have every ability to track this down. If you don't pay your taxes, they're gonna know. And so no one is stupid enough to not pay taxes on this shit. And second of all, it's just based on this idea of like so many people work under the table for all kinds of bullshit. And
that's true.
And the fact that like, oh, I'm going to take this class of people and I'm going to report them to the IRS because I have the power to hold it over them is like, it's so fucking horseshit. But anyway, so the the sexual exploitation policy, you know, is focused on. Facebook claims that it was because content reviewers came to them and said the existing policy wasn't good enough to allow them to take action on, like, you know, inappropriate content being shared, blah, blah, blah. But it's really hard to like, realistically, it seems very much in line with the FOSTA SESTA policies. So FOSTA SESTA makes the platform liable for trafficking in ways that have historically been, like, if you're just a communications platform, you don't get in trouble when people do things on your platform. So long as you act when you're told about it, you don't have to proactively police that content. And in fact, if you do proactively police that content, you can get in trouble for safe harbor laws. Yes, I can't believe I sunk that.
Nice.
And so that's like a thing that platforms have always had, is like, we're basically like a library or a bookstore that anyone can, like, come and put books in. And so, like, we shouldn't be in trouble. We're not editorial. We're not writing the content. We're not reviewing the content. We're just allowing people to come and put their, like, books on our shelves. And so we shouldn't be in trouble for that. And so that's the Communications Decency Act of 1996, Section 230, basically said you can't get in trouble for this. And in particular, that was written because otherwise they were afraid that platforms wouldn't moderate at all, because they'd be so scared to take down anything for fear of being seen as editorial that they would just do nothing. And so back in 1996, when Prodigy or CompuServe or somebody got sued, this turned into a law that said, look, as long as, like, you're allowed to do moderation, so long as you don't, like, do X, Y, or Z thing, like, we're not going to say that you are responsible for what your users post. And that was a like, important in the early days of the web to make sure that you know, platforms actually did police their content. Well, so now they're basically saying, like, yeah, you know how we used to say that you weren't liable for the shit that other people post? Like, we're changing that now. If they post these specific things, then states can go after you. And not only that, it's retroactive. So even before this law goes into effect, you'll still be responsible for the things that happen. And so this is why Reddit earlier this year did a huge crackdown on like, communities around, like, sharing like, sex workers sharing information, is like, oh, well, you're sharing information in client lists and other things like that, which are largely focused around the idea of, oh, well, you don't want to get with a client who's going to beat the shit out of you, so we share client lists together. Nice. Didn't quite go in, but
it didn't turn out that well.
But it did hit the pin.
It did. I think it would have been better if it didn't hit the pin, though.
And so, you know, but one of the things that FOSTA SESTA as written would prevent is, like, if you know, so some people have, like, managers for their YouTube channels. If you have a manager for your Chatterbait channel, then you are likely, like, that manager is in violation of FOSTA SESTA. And if the way that your manager talks to you is via, like, Facebook Messenger, now Facebook is liable to somebody for allowing that communication to happen and not taking action against it. It's crazy. Like, it is a crazy idea, and it's harmful because the idea that it wants to stop trafficking, it was originally targeted at websites like Backpage. Backpage was like the Backpage of, like, tabloids or whatever used to be, where they would have people advertising sex work and escorts and other things like that. Backpage was a website where you could go and list erotic services for whatever. And there was this claim that, like, Backpage is really useful for people who are selling 12-year-old girls on the internet or whatever. So the idea was, like, oh, well, you'll prosecute Backpage for this. Backpage got taken down for other reasons anyway, but that's a different story. So you make it illegal to share that information so that then you can then go sue or prosecute Backpage for that. This is actually the reason why I did not vote for the person who's going to become my member of Congress. Ayanna Pressley was running in Massachusetts. It's a black woman who's, you know, part of the you know, Green New Deal push and the other things like that from Justice Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and and in general, her policies were the same as my existing congressman, but she had a policy position on her website at one point, which was basically like we should prosecute website operators who allow for trafficking to happen through their websites. And I'm like, I don't agree with that at all. Like it's harmful, because you know what cops could do on Backpage before it got shut down? Like they could search for like 16-year-old girl escort or whatever. I don't know what terms they used. Probably some secret code that they used. $50 worth of circus tickets. And go there, and they could like find those people and like figure out, okay, which runaway is this? Like where are they being held? Like and do a sting operation. And now all that behavior hasn't stopped. It's just moved to the streets, it's moved to back channels, it's moved to all these other places. So now the cops can no longer get involved in finding this content. So it's not good at stopping sex trafficking either. Sorry. I'm This is an area that I'm really like. Fosta Sesta is a bad law. It has already likely gotten people killed. It will likely get more people killed. I was listening to a podcast which other people say is terrible, so I won't recommend it, but where a sex worker basically said, like these laws have a body count and they know it and they don't care. And I think that while I hate to agree with that, because I hate to like malign the intentions of people who I think in large part are actually trying to do the right thing. I think that is true for a certain number of people, is that like people who sell their bodies for work are not people who matter in a lot of these circumstances, and that sucks. Hi, Brad. Still there?
Hi. Not very happy with that shot I just hit, but I enjoyed your rant and agree with all of it.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was doing earlier today was describing Dreamwidth as a position, a place where people who are fleeing Tumblr or even Facebook could go. And after the Tumblr thing, the operator posted and said, anything that's legal under U.S. law is basically not going to be a problem here. Like, and I went into a lot of why, this and that. And someone said, well, what about Fosta Sesta? Like when that changes the law? And I said, look, Fosta Sesta is a bad law. It's a bad scene. It's a bad situation. And it's affecting these things. But a lot of the effect that we're seeing right now is not because of the specifics of the law. Instead, it's corporations with billions of dollars on the line with corporate lawyers who are extremely risk averse making rulings and decisions about what should be done. And Dreamwidth is small. It has 56,000 monthly average users. It has 3.7 million total users. Let's say 56,000 total monthly users, whatever. It is a very small service. It does not have very scared corporate lawyers and billions of dollars in revenue to be protecting. And I think that as a result, it can be more progressive. And the other thing is that I know that the person who runs the website is pro-sex worker and pro-sex worker rights, because she has tweets on her timeline that I can point you to that say like sex work is legit work and Fosta Sesta is terrible and like other things like that. Now, does that mean that her personal views will always color exactly what the website does? No, because she has to run a website for 56,000 monthly average users. She has to make decisions that are not just about what she feels, but also about what the broader community is going to be dependent on her for. But I do think that is something that is the situation is better because you've got someone who, at least personally speaking, wants to have your back and will do whatever is possible to make it happen. And if there's one person in the world who I trust to be as fair and equitable in creating and managing and maintaining community management policies as possible, it is Denise, who runs Dreamwidth. She is the one that I would go to for any question about this, and I think that she does the absolute best that is possible under the circumstances. Oh, fuck.
Just can't get him to go in.
So fucking close.
And I'm going to tell you, when you're around 70 yards, get the fuck away from that pitching wedge and just hit a lob wedge normally.
Yeah.
because the pitching wedge runs a bunch, so compensating for that's difficult. You did a nice job there, but it's a harder shot, I think.
Fair enough. This is straight, right? A little bit to the left, I guess.
To the right?
I needed to aim to the left because the run break was to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I did. Just not quite far enough.
Oh.
Yeah. But yes, Facebook's new policy bans content that facilitates, encourages, or coordinates sexual encounters between adults. Like
That seems overly broad.
Like that's like a like I'm not talking about like that's not cam girls, that's not sex workers, that's like I can't tell my wife, hey, can we get like literally I can think of 3 conversations in the past 2 weeks in my Facebook Messenger that violate this policy. Like that's how ridiculous it is, and I'm not out here selling sex. Like,
well, I mean, I feel like just talking about perhaps purchasing a pack of condoms. That sounds like facilitating sex to me, and that's got to go.
No, 100%. Like it is. Like I think there's actually specific language about like paraphernalia related to sex or something like that. That's how crazy this policy is.
Well, I mean, I think that like sexual device manufacturers should be banned from Facebook based on this policy.
Yep.
No more dildo companies. No more condom companies. None of this shit.
Yep.
Because it's all facilitating sex trafficking.
Yep. Clearly, that's exactly what's going on, right? That policy
club down there.
Yep. Not just once, but twice, I think, is what I gotta go
I don't know.
to.
The wind in your face, I'm a little bit scared.
It's 19 feet down.
That's true.
It's a perfect hit. We'll see if I judged it right. I did not judge it right. I should not have clubbed down twice. It's gonna roll, though.
It's
Not
not
far
gonna roll
enough.
that much, is it?
No.
Honestly, though, I'm going to go 1 club down, and I think I'm going to go well past it. So I think this is a no-win situation. Oh, it wants me to hit the 8 iron, so I'm not going to club down necessarily.
Yeah, that's true. What it wanted you to hit was crazy. Content engages in implicit sexual solicitation, includes using sexual hints such as mentioning sexual roles, sex positions, fetish scenarios, sexual preference or sexual partner preference, state of arousal, active sexual intercourse or activity, commonly sexualized areas of the body such as the breast, groin, buttocks, a state of hygiene of genitalia or buttocks. Like, seriously, like, you cannot mention boobs. Like, that's what this text says. Like,
Well, it also sounds, but the good news, I think there's going to be some unintended consequences that are going to be great for me, the non-religious person, is all missionaries are going to be kicked right off of it.
Oh God! Oh
Nailed that.
God! That. Oh man! Whew. Oh.
Whoa, that's not the shot I want to hit.
Yeah, so do not post like there's I don't know if this policy probably already existed, but do not post images of use of sex toys even if above or under clothing is an existing policy, but
Yeah, that one doesn't sound out of line with what they've done in the past.
But that's like, again, that comes back down to the dildo companies. It's like you must only post your pictures of dildos in white background rooms. Like no people holding dildos.
But it's not clear to me that that's acceptable either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The sexual solicitation policy change though is definitely gross.
And what they're trying to say is stop trying to solicit your wife for sex. Okay, stop.
I think I was talking about this just since there's an Onion article. It says woman arrested after 12 years in sex for security scheme, and you know it's like, you know, she had sex with him repeatedly and he bought her like a box fan and like a new you know, and it's marriage, right? Like the whole thing is a play on the fact that marriage is.
Ew. survive my challenge with the trees.
Yes.
There's no other way to hit it, Chris. The odds are terrible.
Lay it up. Lay it up.
No!
Housewife charge and sexual security scam. There we go.
Par 4? Never.
Yeah, she allegedly defrauded husband Russell Crandall out of nearly $230,000 in cash, food, clothing, and housing over the past 19 years using periodic offers of sexual intercourse. Which is... Anyway. Yes. So the sexual exploitation policy seems very clearly, to me, written to cover Facebook's ass around false Sesta. And I'm not like the only person who thinks that. Pretty much everyone thinks that. And this is exactly the same kind of shit that Reddit pulled, back right after the law was passed, where other websites pulled even before the law was passed in an attempt to like clean up their act so that the law wouldn't be passed. And it's a mess because like one, it's almost all based on the idea that sex work just isn't legitimate work. And it is. Like, it really is. Like, pornography is legitimate work. It is hard work. I posted the link the other day to the How to Slut Effectively or something like that, which was, what do they call it? Maximizing Your Slut Impact, an overly analytical guide to camgirling. And so much of this article applies directly to the average YouTube streamer as well. Like, it is content that set yourself up with like bright lights from one direction, put a light behind you, separate yourself far from your background. People want to engage with you more when you feel authentic, so make sure that your like setup doesn't feel like it's overly like clinical. Like all of these things are great advice. Of course, her advice also that if you are male presenting, like good fucking luck. Like I have no advice for you.
I did read that because you posted. It was very long.
I did not. I will admit that I have not read it all yet. I like that's.
Yeah, like it turned out I just wasn't quite interested enough to get all the way through it.
Yeah. But like your first days are going to suck ass. Nobody knows you and nobody cares about you. It's going to be horrible and you're going to be discouraged. Be prepared for this and know that your first few weeks will likely be a slog. Like I think that is good advice that, extends beyond that. And like before logging on, watch other cam girls and like engage with them, follow them on Twitter. Like these are like good advices. And then there's like the offsite social media and the off-cam world. Like that stuff applies less to YouTube, streamers. But, and then there's a whole gamification element of, webcam porn stuff that does not exist as much in the streaming world. And feels more cheesy in the streaming world. So like these are some of this is not there. I sent the link to my daughter, which I'm not sure if that was like a parenting win or a parenting loss moment. So
well, she's expressed interest in the field. So
I sent it to her, said like, I don't know if you're doing this currently or planning to get back to it at any point, but if you are, this feels like a lot of really good advice that you should be aware of.
Well, it also had some useful mathematics on how you can equate your looks to your potential income.
Which I looked at that and I was like, this seems weird. The scale doesn't go down as low for someone who's unattractive as I thought it would. And then I realized it wasn't centered around 1. And I was like, oh, now everything makes more sense to me. Like you have a scale that doesn't have a 1 in it. Its center point is 2.5x. So this 0.3 at the bottom is actually like a 0.1, which makes more sense to me. So.
I was just hoping that there was a dedicated group who really fetishized the extremely ugly and would make things okay for them.
I mean,
but no.
let's be clear that there is definitely, for some niche communities, this can be true, right? Like a lot of what puts you on the low side of the traditional beauty scale is being overweight, and there's certainly a huge fetish community around women who are overweight. But yes, so for those who are considering camgirling on the side, and are women, of which I have none who view my stream apparently according to YouTube demographics, if you are, you know, a 5 to 6 on the beauty scale, you can multiply your income by 2.5x. If you're a 1 to 2, multiply by 0.3x, whatever. So I was a little bit confused by this, and then I realized that, like, oh, if I rescale this so that the middle is in the middle, what this means is that if you're a 1, then it's a 0.1, and if you're an 8, then it's a 3x multiplier. And those numbers made more sense to me once I looked at it in that dimension. I was just like, how do you get to 8, 0.3 and 8? That didn't add up. Yeah, I don't. So it turns out, Stingray, that nobody wants to see my cleavage either. I just like Van and Brad. I think those are the 2 exceptions to that rule.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
I just don't have cleavage. I don't have. You know, Bob had bitch tits, but I do not.
I like your flat-chested look.
But yes, I love the phrase that, like, none of this applies if you appear male. If you appear male, God help you. I love that phrase.
Well, I got to imagine that gay men participate in these activities just as much as straight men, but I feel like they have a lot more non-paid channels to do that.
I actually think that so the problem is, that's a good question. I wonder if that's true. Well, but gay men are a smaller
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in
audience.
terms of
That's why.
market size, it's
Right.
obviously much smaller.
Right. Like I think on average the expectation is like 10% of men are gay or something like that. So
That's probably the high bound. But my guess here also is, though, that if you are a man webcamming, you're probably going to have more gay male viewers than straight female viewers.
Yeah, 100%. Like that has been my personal experience at the very least. So my Chatterbait experience has been all
very slow.
Yeah, that was a terrible. My finger slipped.
Oh, but you got it right through those trees.
I did.
Took them on.
But yeah, which has always been a little bit uncomfortable. It's like, I'm not gay. Like, I realize that this is not a thing that's gonna work out here, but I'm not. Oh, I lost the Brad. Maybe he's back. Stop beeping. But yes, I don't have any cleavage. It's true. I'm too skinny. But yes, if you did not see the tweet on this, this is the article that I'm talking about. You can see all of the stuff here. I think there's a lot of stuff in here that was interesting separately. I have not read through. I will admit that the latter half of the article is much more focused on the webcamming side of things than the general connecting to people, broadcasting and live content, stuff like that. And I read some of that less. Just things like, you know, what are the men who are doing this and what do they want? How do you climb up the ranks? Like, what can you do with games? Being the girl they want to tip was interesting to me. Make them forget this is about the money is actually, I think, an interesting like point. Never refer to tokens as money. Refer to tokens as little as you can while still being clear. And I think that those are like other interesting like tactics and techniques. Okay, Brad is reconnecting to the internet now, I think. So call him back and see if we can get in. Hello, Brad.
Hi, I made it back.
Welcome back.
Ugh, this is my internet life now, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So does your work internet work better so far?
Well, I mean, it works with the VPN.
I think I lost you again. Take a couple swings while I wait for Brad to come back. Hello? Oh, right. I was in the rough. I forgot that part. But yes, in conclusion, be hot. Don't expect to be too hot. Chill out. Don't look like you're trying too hard, but really try as hard as you can. Look rich. Be accessible. Don't beg or be sad. Create tension and competition. Be kind and address emotional needs. Also use emotional needs for financial gain. Maybe you're here again. Hello.
Yeah, that didn't go particularly well.
No, it did not. But yes, I was reading the conclusion of this article, which is be hot. Don't expect to be too hot. Chill out. Don't look like you're trying too hard, but really try as hard as you can. Look rich but be accessible. Don't beg or be sad. Create tension and competition. Be kind and address emotional needs. Also use emotional needs for financial gain, but also be kind. Work your stuff like a business. Prepare for stress so much you aren't stressed. Maybe be a bitch, but probably only a little bit. And like have fun and stuff. Which I like, it's pretty much, I know it's about a very different side of the industry, but there's so much of that I just want to tell so many YouTubers that, you know, have failed to understand all the ways in which this is really fucking hard to do well. Fuck me. Well, thank you very much for Stingray for hanging out with us tonight. And I'm glad that you have enjoyed some of the conversation. And I think that what I'm learning, what the piece of advice that I would have for this is, listen to sex workers. They're smart ladies, and they have to be pretty good at what they do because they're constantly attacked by everyone and their brother in everything that they do. So they've got to be smart or they fail. So
isn't that just the woman, the female experience?
So
attacked by everyone for everything.
It is true. I think that like sex workers and like underrepresented minority, like black women, you know, Latina women, like they all have additional like fucked upness even beyond the traditional fucked upness that makes it even worse. That's all.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was.
I feel like you're not having the best hole here.
No, it's been a rough hole, but I think I'm gonna score a bogey, which is fine. That ship worked out really.
This is a par 5, okay.
Yeah. I don't know how long it was, but it was par 5.
Yeah, whenever I have VPN woes, I lose a lot of focus on the golf.
Yeah, no, I understand. Hey, at least you're not trying to deal with the streaming aspect of it at the same time, so there's that.
And as I was trying to say last time before my VPN cut again, I'm pretty sure that whatever's going on with the Great Firewall makes some differentiation between business accounts and consumer accounts.
Gotcha.
Because I've been using my traditional VPN at work, and it works. It doesn't work great though, but we also our office internet's not good either. So there's too many moving pieces, and I can't really tell you what's going on.
Can you use your work VPN at home?
Oh no, I use my personal VPN on the work internet.
Oh, okay. So something about when you say accounts, you don't mean VPN accounts. You mean like the whatever. The internet company
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
ISP is doing different things depending on level of account.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. It sucks. Don't worry. Don't worry. Google is going to do Dragonfly soon, and then everything will be better, right? Like that's how the world works.
Maybe.
Fuck.
Wow, I botched that swing.
I am one of the 789 public signatories to the canceled Dragonfly letter, so.
I mean, it's obviously gonna save the internet in China by giving you better censored search results.
Like Bing is already in China, right?
Yep.
Like, why would Google be better than Bing? I understand why they'd be better than Baidu, because Baidu does not seem to be a company that is focused on user experience as a component of what they measure or care about. But like. Why would they be better than Bing? Like, do we think that Microsoft is so much worse at search that we can come in with a 10-year gap in our experience of logs and data collection and just like do better? Because it doesn't make any goddamn sense, right?
Well, I will say that Bing seems to be putting in a very low effort approach in China, in that like they have some like knowledge graph type stuff now as well in their global search. almost none of that stuff's in China for some reason.
I mean, but
Which it's still big. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's not. They're not putting utmost effort into their China search.
okay, fair enough.
But even I don't see how having Google's nice features really improves anything that matters. Yes, it can improve your search experience. Sure, whatever.
No, I didn't hit that far enough, at least. So the
That's
fact
why
that I also hit it
Terrible.
too far to the right was not really relevant.
I
Far on the
can't
18th
read.
hole.
There's too many shadows.
Oh, so it's right in front of my blue. Oh, you can't read the green. Yeah, I think it's just a little bit. It's going just a little bit right, so you want to hit it just a little bit left, and you got it in. Perfect.
It's gonna be rough to suck on a bogey on the 18th, which is what you're gonna do.
No, it was a par.
I know.
Okay, I'm gonna say. Yeah, so +1 to -9. My handicap is 0.8. Yours is +18. So, you know, we have a 17 difference in handicap. So I feel like I did well there. Anyway, that's it for me tonight. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate you hanging out and listening to me as I ranted and raved and chatting with me and everything else. It's been great.
Well, thanks for having me. It was great to play the golf club with you. It's been a long while, and I had a great time.
Yeah, and it was almost like you were right here streaming with us. So
Almost.
I appreciate that, and I'm sorry that China continues to be a fucking shit show as far as getting on the internet, but you know.
Yeah, we'll see. I should probably take some more actions to try to remedy that, but I've been lazy.
Well, also it's not clear that you have a lot of power to do much about it. Like,
Well, there's still one more thing I can try. I just need to sit down
Yeah,
and do it.
but it's
Probably
also
ask you tonight.
it's also the case that you are dealing with a situation where you have an adversary which is intentionally attempting to get in your way. Like, as much as I hate Comcast, like, it is not the case that Comcast is ever intentionally trying to prevent me from accessing the internet. Like, that's
Yeah, I mean, they're not spiteful. They're just trying to give you as little service while extracting as much money as
Right.
possible.
Like, their goal is to maximize revenue per thing that they have to build. So they want to at least make it so that I continue to pay them. Otherwise, they're in trouble. Whereas in China, you know, maybe not so much. It's been great. What should I play on Monday?
Jeez.
Pirates is going to be your
I
answer.
don't know. It's getting increasingly hard to think of retro games that you haven't played.
Yeah, it's kind of my feeling as well. This is why I think in the new year I will not be. I think I'm going to keep streaming twice a week. I think I'm going to go down to once a week, and I'll spend 4 hours a week doing other things. So I'll probably like pick up a monthly CCTV show, and I'll start making some more VODs or something. But I don't feel like streaming twice a week is still necessary.
Well, I think you should maybe be a little flexible there, because maybe you don't want to play retro games every week. That's probably maybe run its course because it's hard to think of games to play. But like when you have like a special stream idea, like a jigsaw puzzle or a choose your own adventure or Lego construct, I think you should still leave room in your life for that.
Well, I think that's the key, right? Like, my goal is not to cut down on the amount of creative stuff I do. My goal is to spend the same 8 hours a week doing creative stuff, but spend 4 of them being more flexible in what I'm creating. And so, like, if that means I'm going to do a Friday and a Saturday stream instead, like, that's fine. But I still want to keep, like, for live streams, I feel like, I mean, for my live streams, I know that having a schedule matters, because I know that a lot of you all are able to make it here because you know I'm here at a specific time. People set aside time, they come in early, they make comments and other stuff like that. So I know that happens, and I don't want to take away from that, because then I'd have no audience. But I want to, like, you know, I just don't feel like the two times a week I'm putting as much time to make it a good stream as I would be. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's valid.
Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me. Have a great night. To everyone who's still watching in the chat, have a great night. And I'll see you on Monday playing maybe something. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Later, bye.